So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane, it's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall, I've come to take it all. I'll take it, I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall, I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. Coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
I'll get it, I got one life, I'ma do all to win it. I do what's right, push until I fall.
I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, 'cause that's what it takes.
All right, y'all. Happy Wednesday, September, what is it, 3rd. Welcome to the show. Let me get our first guest in here and we'll kind of talk about what we're going to do tonight. Let me figure out how to run his intro. Where is he at? So many. Here we go.
Yeah, baby, yeah! I also like to live dangerously.
Polish Mike, how you doing, buddy? Let me get you on the screen here. We don't need the intro anymore. Let me get that out of here. How you doing?
Good, Tony. How are you? How's things?
Good. Long time no see. Long time no talk.
Oh yeah. You've been busy, I see.
I have, yeah. You know, I realized, Mike, I had gotten so in the beginning of this year focused on getting my fitness and my diet back in check that I was neglecting the Series 65. And now I feel like I've tilted the other way because I'm putting so much of my free time into finishing up the studying for the Series 65.
Yeah.
I just want to get that behind me. I don't have any, there's no deadline that I have. I'm not taking it for a job. I'm not sponsored by any broker. I'm just doing it for fun. So it's okay that it's taken me this long, but it's a lot of information to remember. And the longer you delay taking the exam, the more likely you are to forget stuff that you studied months ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I remember when I finished college, I had nightmares for like 2 years after I was done that I missed an exam or a test. So the whole idea of doing all that kind of stuff, not interested anymore. My major was pretty intense, and so it was quite busy. And it was like, you couldn't pay me enough money to go back and do that over again. Kenneth, but good luck to you if you do that for fun. I'm a bit the same way though too. Like when I pick up a hobby or I pick up a task, I have a little bit of OCD in me, and then you just you set a goal, and sometimes you just can't sit down and relax until you kind of get it done. And that's been me all summer. So I'm dealing with a couple of niggling injuries, and now I have to sit around for 2 or 3 weeks and do nothing, which is going to be awful. But
those damn injuries, as my grandma used to say, yeah. Mike, Tony, it's hell getting old.
Yeah.
Let me put up the stock chart here for a second. Let's talk about that before we get into the Matt interview. Let me see how I can share this screen. Replace screen share. We want to look at this window right here. I think this is the right one. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if I can flip these. How about that? We'll put me and Mike down in the bottom corner. So this is the AMC chart. We're going to be going through an interview with AMC's CEO, Adam Aron, and Matt Belloni. Is it Belloni? Is that how you say it, Mike?
I'm not sure. But I've seen him around. I've seen his Twitter. I've seen his reports and stuff.
I'll introduce him in just a second, but let's just talk about the chart. This is about a 1-year chart. The stock closed today at 271. I don't own any AMC. I'm pretty sure Mike does. I sold mine. You can see in the top left there back in November, based on looking at the company's cash position and not wanting to be in front of any dilution if I could predict it. So I'm still waiting, Mike. I think maybe, I get my next decision point in October or December when we get the proxy and see what's on it and what happens with the vote. But I see a lot of commentary on social media, people wondering, why is the price getting beaten down? Do you have any thoughts you want to share?
No, for the most part, my outlook's pretty long term. I was a bit frustrated at the start of this year with how terrible Q1 was. So I was watching Q2 carefully. I like the numbers in Q2. I wish Q2 would have been bigger, though. I was kind of hoping more for 2.8 or 2.9. But the EBITDA they're generating under 2.7 billion in box office covers interest expense. It covers CapEx. And leaves a little bit of money left over. So that's a positive sign. Q3 looks a little bit soft. We'll see where Q4 is. I was looking to possibly flip it, but I'm pretty comfortable holding. And I see where you have your demand zones. I kind of got a demand zone between about 245 and 265. So I might nibble, add a little bit more in there, but I haven't been adding regularly anymore. I've kind of averaged into a decent sized position.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mike,
because I'm happy there. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought the demand zone up, because we are about, the demand zone is drawn based on support from July and then again in August. But we are about to punch down below it, possibly. And if we do, then the next real support is down in that zone where you said, like 245, 260.
Yeah.
I can't say whether or not it's going to retest that low or not, but I would say, pay very close attention to what is going on right here in the next couple days.
Yeah. So unless there's some terribly awful news, I'd probably be adding a little bit more in that demand zone. And even if it drops below, like how much lower is it going to go based on, the 2-year outlook? So I'm pretty comfortable adding and averaging down, but at the lower end of the stock price spectrum. That's kind of where I'm thinking now. I have a pretty solid position for my portfolio. So,
all right, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. I think my audience all is probably sick and tired of hearing my thoughts.
Yeah.
Based on the comments I get on social media, shut up. Why are you still talking about AMC?
Yeah.
Why are you so bearish? I'm not bearish. I don't want to. I might have a different risk profile than you do, a different risk tolerance.
Yeah.
By you, I don't mean you, Mike. I mean the random commenters out there.
And just from my perspective, like I'm not swing trading or day trading. I'm looking like I'm in here till at least through 2026 and 2027 when the box office is really supposed to recover. And then maybe around there, we'll see how AMC's and the metrics perform and what it's looking like if they get into any sort of dividend or share buyback by then. If the financial health gets quite good, what the float's going to look like, and I'll make some decisions then when it's time to take profit or whether I hold on to longer, kind of thing. I guess something really bad could happen 26 and 27, but I think that the risk of that, I think we're through most of the real serious risks from 2022 and 2023 and 2024.
Yep.
And now the risk is, a quarter comes in at 2.65 billion rather than 2.8 billion. Those big, huge zero risks, I think, are generally gone. So now it's just like, what's the share float going to be? How big is the box actually going to get? What kind of profits can the company generate?
And I think we both agree we both agree that from everything we're hearing, the box office in 2026, 2027 is supposed to be better than the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And there will, if that is the case, there will likely be at least some quarters that AMC is net income and cash flow positive.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Again, I'm still like, and this is way out and the schedule's got to get filled up. I still don't like Q1 in 2026.
I haven't done any forecasting by quarter
Yeah.
for next year yet. I'm just kind of let's
Just
get through Q4
yeah.
first is where I'm
Yeah.
at.
I'm looking just at the general titles. There's no big blockbusters in January and February. They're going to be quiet months, and mind you, they're supposed to be smaller months. But it's nice to have a nice $200 million movie kind of filling in the gaps there, and a couple $100 million ones. But I'm not seeing that yet.
So the interview we're going to watch tonight with Matt Belloni. Someone asked in the chat, what is the agenda of the interview? I think Adam wanted to just go live with Matt, who has been a critic of Adam Aron in the past. We'll talk about that in just a second. He wanted to go live with him and answer tough questions directly. And it was a lot of good conversation. So I wanted to just kind of listen to it live with you guys. And the link to the original uninterrupted video interview is in down below in the video description if you want to go to Matt's YouTube and check that out. Matt is an American entertainment journalist, podcaster, and former attorney. He is founding partner of the digital media company Puck. And before that, he was an editorial director of The Hollywood Reporter. So, it's fair to say that he's a entertainment reporter. And I think if you remember Matt from 2021, he was not a fan of Adam Aron. And I wanted to pull up that article real quick. Let's see if I can get it on the screen here. Stop screen share, add screen share. And let me close this chat so we can see this a little easier. They talk about this in the interview, in the very beginning of the interview. So I just wanted to kind of set the stage here for you guys when you hear Adam and Matt talking about Adam Aron being the villain of the year. This was an article that Matt Belloni wrote in December of 2021. And I'll if I get a chance, I'll put a link to it in the video description. I forgot to do that. But in summary, without boring you guys, he was mad. He was mad that AMC raised a bunch of money and that Adam Aron sold shares at the same time. And there's some comments in here like, why didn't Adam use that money to upgrade the theaters? Well, I think over time, some of it did get used to upgrade the theaters. But Mike, I think you and I both know from years of looking at the financials and the cash flow that box office was, AMC forecast box office at least 2 years in advance, and they knew they were going to burn through all that cash that they raised in 2021. Well, you think that's a fair statement?
Yeah, if they didn't raise money, they were dead.
Well, and even when they did raise money, they knew that it wasn't going to last based on predictions for 2022, 2023 box office.
Well, you got to think back then, things were so unknown. All these exhibitors, or not exhibitors, but all these production companies were experimenting with things. They were doing day and date movies. The production pipe, like the bigger thing too, like sure the theaters got shut down for 6 months here and then 8 months there, but production on movies completely stopped. And it takes like 2 years to make a movie. So sure, the theaters were shut down, but even when they reopened, it took till, probably 2024, a couple quarters in 2024 were normal-ish. And even in 2025, the numbers are down comparably per quarter for movie releases. And it sounds like with Amazon and all these other guys are ramping back up. But the writing was on the wall. All the executives knew they needed cash. There's no way around it.
Matt also complains a little bit in this article that, Adam Aron was leaning into courting retail investors while the company was at the same time issuing warnings that the company was unstable financially. And what did he mean? What does Matt mean by that? Well, and I went and pulled some old documents. Let me see if I can put one of them up here. There we go. This is the March 2021 10K before many of us invested. And I remember everybody, I was not live streaming or covering AMC in March, not even till July, well after the squeeze. But I remember watching Matt and Trey and everybody covering the stocks at that time, even the GameStop. A common phrase you heard was, do not invest money you can't afford to lose. Do you remember anybody ever saying that back in 2021, Mike?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tons of people were.
And so I think that message was put out at that time by the folks that were covering these meme stocks. But, everybody kind of was like, yeah. All right, whatever. You say that, but we're here for the short squeeze. And so they, in some cases, invested money they couldn't afford to lose. Before that squeeze even really kicked off, AMC was already warning people, if you buy this stock, you could lose your entire investment. I don't know why this screen share keeps dropping. So I just want to put these up here just as a reminder of what the company was sharing with folks back in early 2021. We had this one saying you could suffer a total loss of your investment. We had this one saying the same thing. There's going to be more dilution, likely. There could be substantial losses. And there was even one thing in here about future offerings of debt and or preferred securities. They were warning about APE in March of 2021.
Yeah.
And this makes a lot of the Popcorn Project people mad when I say this, but the warnings were here long before, years before we even knew about APE. The company was already warning investors and I have tried to become better to the point of becoming a pain in the ass to everybody and every ticker when I tell you guys, read the risk disclosures, because you can't cry foul afterwards if you didn't do your homework. Everything that happened with AMC was fully disclosed in advance. And then as I was kind of looking back through this stuff, Mike, remember when the APE prospectus came out in 2023 and a lot of people were saying, Matt Kors and a bunch of other people were pushing this phrase around that was in that prospectus that said, under the circumstances, we caution you against investing in our Class A common stock unless you're prepared to incur the risk of losing all or a substantial portion of your investment. They were pushing that in 2023, Mike, like it was something new. The company had this warning in its documents since 2021.
Yeah, well, they're grifters, and like the change of personality in some of these people who were behind this, and then they completely swapped afterwards is, well, it's suspect, but I don't know what's going on.
I'm just, it's just shocking to me. Like people's like, oh, look at this wording. It just showed up. No, it didn't just show up. It's been there for years. Maybe you just decided to read.
Yeah.
And then I found one comment, and I've had people tell me this. Look at this. This lady is laughing at the warning. She's like, they're really trying to scare and manipulate us. It could drop to $1 and I would still hold. I've heard this so many times from so many people. Risk warnings, Tony, are just there to scare us. They're there to scare us out of the play. No, they are effing not. They're there so you can be properly informed about the investment decision that you're making. And then you can decide, do I want to invest in this or not? How much do I want to invest in this? And am I willing to lose all of it? But this was a very common, I see this all the time still. And I hear it in other tickers. Oh, risk warnings, they're boilerplate. Every company has them. Yes, they do. But you should read them, and because you shouldn't act surprised after the fact if things don't go the way you wanted them to.
They're specific to every company. So I'm sure you don't have this risk warning in Apple's prospectus.
Right. There are some risks that are general, shared by all companies. Yep. There are company specific risks, and even, it could be even worse. Some companies could have like a a going concern warning if they don't have enough cash to last 12 months. So there are different levels of risk to go read about.
The one nice thing about AMC is the risks that were announced in 2021 and 2022, you're seeing less and less phrasing regarding them now because liquidity is becoming less of a problem. It's still an issue, and they got to make sure the box office is bigger. But, there's less comments about increase in attendance is going to be required and this and that. So you can see the risk is getting pulled back even in the filings as well.
Chris says every stock ticker has that as an automatic disclosure. No, I don't. That one that we were just reading about, you could lose your entire position. That is not an automatic disclosure. No. This is customized for AMC. There are pages and pages of risks in every company's 10K, and some of them, like I said, are common and some are company specific. And I always recommend that you guys go read them. Granted, Mike, many of us were not looking at risks in 2021, right?
Realistically,
because the company was flush with cash. The short interest was through the roof and the price momentum was going up. And we weren't playing the ticker in 2021 because of the fundamentals. We knew the fundamentals sucked, right?
Oh yeah, like I definitely did not get in based on fundamentals.
Who was
in on
saying
all the hype and everything else, and Wall Street bets and all that stuff? Yeah.
Who was saying in 2021 buy this stock because they're financially stable? Nobody. It was a short squeeze.
Yeah, the reason I'm in this stock now is the future fundamental outlook.
Right.
It's definitely not the reason I got into it in the future.
Some of us have shifted, how we cover the stock because, for me, the short interest is not high enough for me to talk about it as a short squeeze, and there's just not enough people covering the financials and in an unbiased way. There are a few people that cover it and slant it as negatively as they can. I just try and be balanced. And if I see an opportunity where I think I can make money, I jump in. I've been now swing trading this stock since the end of 2023, but I have been out of it since November of 2024. So.
Yeah, and even on my end, I did a deep dive into it because I typically don't invest in individual stocks. I typically do total market funds, like long-term investment kind of things. But, the tinfoil and the conspiracy theories surrounding the stock are interesting enough that I'm willing to put some risk into it, but only because it looks like it's going to be a fundamental recovery play. It's still more risk than obviously the ETFs I typically invest in, but I find that interesting enough to make it appealing and to put the time into it to see kind of what happens.
Yeah. And I think that's fine as long as you have the time to dedicate to keep up with the box office, read the filings. I know you do that, Mike, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For anybody that's listening, if you're speculating in any ticker where it's on a little bit of shaky ground, make sure that you have the time to really keep up with it. And I don't mean reading memes on Reddit. Like, you need to dedicate time to read a 10Q, read a 10K, read a 8K, read a prospectus, understand the balance sheet and the cash flow statement. And if you can't do that, then you're increasing your own risk because you don't know enough information about what is likely to happen. That's what I think. We all every stock is a bet, but you got to be even more informed than the average guy on these super speculative bets.
Yeah. And even based on the percentage of my portfolio, like, I'm still willing to add now, but I'm only willing to add at certain prices. Like, I'm not buying at any time. If on price run-ups, I sell a few covered calls. On price rundowns, if the price looks good enough, I'll average into my position. And that's kind of how I've been handling it forever. Because, like I said, my time frame's long-term too. So I don't have the time to sit at my computer and swing trade or day trade it. A little bit too busy with work and stuff like that to do that kind of thing. But I applaud people who are able to do that. It's not an easy thing to do.
Chris says high risk equals high reward. And that is the bet, right? For those of us that enjoy speculating. I speculate on a lot of high risk stocks. I own a penny stock right now that has no revenue. That's about as high risk as you get. But I have done a risk to reward analysis and I've sized my position. If I lose it all, I'm okay with that. And I know that's a possible outcome. But if my bet works out, I think the payout, the reward could be outsized to, just buying an S&P ETF. So
Yeah, 100%.
that's an individual decision for each person. You must know your risk tolerance and you must know the trade and then size your position accordingly. Randy says the problem is Adam Aron would go on earnings calls and tweets refuting his own risk statements. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, Randy. I'm just going to say what I've always said over the past couple of years. I don't interpret tweets. And I've also said, and it makes people really mad when I say this, but the CEO's job is to market the company. And who is he marketing to? Investors. So you must take statements made on social media or even in earnings calls with a grain of salt. I recommend that your information come from reading a 10Q, a 10K, a 8K, a 424B, and take everything else with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree, Mike?
Yeah, I would add to that. Like, I'd look at the perspective of the people reading the tweets. When he tweets choke on that, everyone thinks he's going to squeeze the shorts, but probably from his perspective, when he says choke on that, we're setting up ourselves in a position where we don't have to Chapter 11.
Exactly. We've just bought ourselves another year of liquidity.
Yeah, and that Taylor Swift movie single-handedly saved the fourth quarter that year. If that didn't happen, the operations statement would have been fucking disastrous. Like, if you want to talk about dilution, that probably saved 1 or 2 rounds of dilution having that movie. Similar to like when Top Gun Maverick came in. There were certain movie events that happened post-COVID that kind of like are monumental in turning the industry around. I think Top Gun Maverick was one of them, and I think that Taylor Swift movie after the strikes for all the exhibitors saved a lot of pain. And so, yeah, it didn't make them profitable that quarter, but it saved a hell of a lot of cash burn. So, when there was nothing coming out. So I guess it just depends on your perspective there. I don't see any issue with the statements with those kinds of things.
And every CEO does it too. Every CEO markets their company on social media and on earnings calls. And that's why they have forward-looking statement warnings read by the legal guy before the call even starts. Like, everything that is said on this call could be subject to change. And they're basically saying, take all of this with a grain of salt. The only thing we're committing to is what was filed with the SEC.
Yeah. And even as we get into this interview, his speculation and his estimates on future box office years and what those numbers are going to look like, they're not out to lunch or unrealistic or pie in the sky numbers. They're pretty realistic, but they could be wrong if a bunch of movies don't hit, or they could be wrong on the low side if all of a sudden the attendance goes up and there's some just smash hits that come through, right? So but they're not unrealistic based on if you do your own research.
So that's kind of a long setup. Let's get into this interview, and we'll stop it every few minutes to add, or maybe more frequently than that, to just talk about the points that are being made. I think there's a lot of great topics covered in this video.
I'm gonna go make myself a coffee, Tony.
All right.
No sound.
No sound. Hang on one second. I probably need to make sure I enable screen sharing with the sound. Can y'all hear that okay now?
Our main guest tonight is not famous, not really.
Check 1, 2. Can y'all hear the music?
Anyway, if he's
Can
Twitter
y'all
famous,
hear Matt?
and he does sign autographs and pose for selfies with his many, many fans. Most of whom are investors
All right.
in his publicly traded company.
If there is any echo because I have Mike's microphone on, let me know.
Very familiar to those of you who have been listening to the town since the early days, more than 3 years ago. In fact, even before that, I named him the inaugural Villain of the Year in my Puck newsletter for his interesting stock sales around that time.
It's interesting, Mike. He did say what I said a few minutes ago. He named him Villain of the Year for his stock sales.
It wasn't an article, and Adam Aron's on this interview, and he's quite gracious.
Yeah. Adam they seem to have a good banter in this interview, which is why I want y'all to see it. Plus just the sheer amount of good information shared here.
That led to he and I starting an ongoing dialogue. It was kind of a dialogue. It was kind of an argument. It was kind of ongoing, sometimes heated, mostly a good-natured debate about the movie industry, the role that movie theaters play in modern Hollywood, why people complain about them so much, yet keep going back, and the upheaval that the exhibition industry has endured over the past 5 years.
All right, they're saying there's an echo, so I'm going to put you on mute, Mike.
I'm not telegraphing at all. I wanted to have him on the town for a long time now, and I'm happy to say he finally made it happen. Direct from Kansas City,
Let me know if it's better now.
The theater industry, the leader of the AMC Apes, a friend to both Nicole Kidman and Taylor Swift, the man who sells more popcorn and Coca-Cola than anyone in America, the chairman and CEO of AMC Theaters, my good friend, Adam Aron. Was that okay?
Was that okay?
Thank you, Adam. For those who...
Hello, everybody.
Yes. For those not familiar, we have had a very spirited dialogue over the past few years, but never mean-spirited, always trying to be positive, ultimately.
Calling someone the villain of the year is not mean-spirited?
Well, I wasn't really going to do this because I was going to avoid this studiously.
Okay.
But the first time I heard of Matt Belloni is when I read his column that I was the villain of the year. And I was really upset.
You weren't thrilled?
I was not happy. And I called you, and you were nice enough to take the call.
I believe this was Christmas Eve. Was it not?
I don't remember. I just remember we went about an hour on the phone where I could tell you, this is wrong, this is unfair, this isn't right.
Yeah. And I had pretty good answers for why it was.
No, you didn't. But
Mike.
Yes, sir.
It's interesting to me that Adam took his time out of his day, an hour out of his day, to call Matt up back then in 2021 and kind of confront him on the phone over that.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you?
It's an adult thing to do.
Yeah.
You have an issue with somebody, you give them a call and you go over it. It's Hollywood. I guess you're dealing with reporters. You're a CEO. You're in the spotlight. Not every article about you is going to be in a positive light, but for that particular one, I guess you decided to give them a call and, hey, let's talk about this. I don't agree with you.
All right, let's press on here.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say. It's very nice, okay? I since learned that with the exception of that one erroneous article,
just that one,
the only one that I could find, I learned that I think Matt actually is the most informed, knowledgeable reporter. No offense to Lucas, because he just said this about you, but I think he's the most informed reporter in Hollywood. I think he knows what's going on here more than I do.
All right, no spin zone here. No BS.
Do you agree with that, Mike? Is Matt Belloni the most informed entertainment reporter?
No, in my opinion, the person that I find the most informed and the most accurate, although he can be a dick sometimes, is Empire City Box Office. I don't know who he is in real life, but
I wish we knew who he was in real life.
Yeah, he is unbelievably accurate on so many things. And I don't think anybody's better. He doesn't put spin on things. When stuff's in the shitter, he says it's in the shitter. When stuff's going to overperform, he says it's going to overperform. And he seems to have a deep understanding of the industry and contacts everywhere.
And there's a couple of the other guys on, like Luis on X, that sometimes I think they let emotions get into their tweets a little bit too much. They have good info, but sometimes they're a little bit too emotional for my liking.
Yeah, they get a little biased. I find, although he does make political tweets sometimes. So if you're a Trump supporter, the guy hates Trump. So you might want to follow him. But if you want good information about the box office, what's coming up, how things are going to perform, short-term, long-term estimates, he's probably the most accurate guy that I've found.
Empire City box office on
Empire
X.
City.
Yeah, I follow him too.
I find this guy's a bit pretentious and a bit of a douche. He's
Belloni.
Yeah, he is. But this was a good interview, and like I said, you look at Adam, and he got trashed 4 or 5 years ago by this guy, and he says, "I don't agree with you," and then he compliments him for 5 minutes in there. What a way to handle business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's press on here.
But I just want to say, yes.
Wait till I ask you why you hate your customers.
It started when you trashed me, but we've gone a long way since then. Yeah, years ago. All right, there we go.
Okay. Would you like to start, or should I?
I thought you already asked your first question. I can ask.
There's a nice way to.
Well, I have a similar question, but I feel like yours might be better. But so movie theaters? Correct me if I'm wrong. Generally full, like 20% of the time, 15% of the time.
14 if we're lucky.
Right.
All right, let's stop here. Mike, were you aware of that statistic that the movie theaters generally are only full 14% of the time?
No, not aware of that number. That's lower than I thought, but I knew
that's more than you thought. Wow.
Yeah, it's lower than I thought it was. I thought it was.
Oh, I thought it. Yeah, I thought the number would be higher than 14%.
Yeah, same. But I didn't think it was like 50 or 40 or something like that. Like, they run 2 showings in the evening, which are probably the most full ones.
You know me, I go
100% to 70% full. And then 24 hours of the day, how often is the theater full? Maybe 3 hours on the weekends. And depending on what's out, for sure. Yeah.
I go to a lot of daytime movies just because I can. I work from home. I don't have a boss. I can go to a movie if I have free time and I'm not trading that day. And a lot of times it is empty, but I actually enjoy that more than trying to, bump elbows with people on the weekends.
Yeah. I find like I don't go to as many movies as you, but I go to probably about at least once a month. I head to the theater, sometimes more if there's lots of stuff I like. If I'm going to watch, I don't know, if I'm going to watch Superman, I want it to be in a full theater, or Beetlejuice, I want it to be in a full theater. If I'm going to go watch something like The Menu or another movie like that, I kind of like an emptier one because you can kind of just lock in. And I'll go for matinees for that kind of stuff. So just kind of depends.
Really good comedies are good or horror movies are good with a larger audience too, I think.
Weapons was really good. Yeah.
Is there another business that is considered successful where you're only 14% full?
Yes, because I use this all the time. I spent 11 years in the airline business, and as an airline executive, if you weren't 80% full and you were in the marketing department, which I was, you'd like slash your wrists. So it's a disaster. But I describe the movie theater industry as a church built for Easter Sunday. And the reality is we're sort of full on Friday and Saturday nights and pretty empty the rest of the time. And that is something that has had my attention. I've run AMC now for almost a decade. That's something that it's had my attention for a full decade. We do need more movies coming out of major studios and minor studios alike. We'll also have to look for alternate uses of our space in addition to movies, because we have so much excess capacity that's just sitting there begging to be used.
Mike, so much excess capacity sitting there begging to be used. And my first thought when I heard him say that is, what are you doing about it though? Right?
I think 1, they're shutting down theaters, but 2, I guess that's what they're trying with this music stuff. And with, they talk about sports in a bit. I don't know how you fill that space consistently.
I mean, but they've had a decade to think about it.
Yeah.
And
they're probably thinking about it a lot harder when the box office is $4 billion and 11 billion, right?
That's true. Maybe it's less of a burning issue when you have $11-12 billion box office, right? Yeah. So he's going to talk about sports and some other things here in just a minute. But man, I'd like to see hair on fire execution on doing something. They tried the Zoom thing. We got one press release and then never heard anything about it again. AMC hired a VP over concerts, and we really haven't seen a ton. A couple of small ones, but like even Eminem wasn't shown in my city. That Eminem concert, I would have gladly gone to that a month ago.
I just put the caveat. I think Taylor Swift is like the Michael Jackson of her era, and there's not another Taylor Swift out there.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard. I mean, if that's your bar, it's going to be hard to repeat it. I get what you're saying, but we should be doing something.
But getting another couple million on a Monday or on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday or on a Thursday with that empty space, that adds up, and that's definitely should be ass on fire. Let's figure this out.
Phoenix says his biggest issue is transparency when it comes to Project Popcorn and city's involvement. Yeah, I don't know that we're going to rehash all that. That's like 2023 type DD at this point, but you got to have an investment bank, and it happened to be City. I think that no matter who it was, if it was JP Morgan, City, there were going to be people that are going to be mad. But these companies deal with investment banks when they're trying to do complicated financing, and that's just how it is. Like even right now, well, they deal with brokers and investment banks, both. Like the OTC stock that I own right now, they're in the middle of an acquisition, and they have partnered up with H.C. Wainwright to sell some debt or sell some shares as part of the acquisition. It's just unavoidable when you got something that you need to sell. These companies, that's not their job. So Citibank or someone had to be involved. Do you have any other thoughts, Mike?
Well, look at the situation AMC was in. It's not like people were knocking down their door to give them money.
Yeah.
They
were literally almost out of cash.
Once AMC is generating hundreds of millions of dollars worth of earnings, and they can take their time and they can shop around and they can do this and that, then you're going to start seeing better deals. But when they're in the position they're in right now, beggars cannot be choosers. Like I said, the best thing that could happen for Shorts would be or someone nefarious would be for AMC to go bankrupt and for all the lenders to take over and build it up as the box office goes back up and make a shit ton of money. And he's prevented that from happening. And there's obviously people who would have liked that to happen that are pretty pissed off it didn't.
Yeah. The best thing for Shorts is if AMC would have just done nothing over the last few years. It would have gone bankrupt several times
100%,
since 2021.
Yeah. And the lenders would own everything, and they'd be in the same situation as Cineworld, right? Yeah,
and then the company would be taken private, and they'd shut down a bunch of theaters, then they'd relaunch it, and then you'd you'd have AMC investors acting like the BBBY people, like, where's our money, bro? Like, no, that company, what you owned, went bankrupt. This is a new one. Sorry. It don't work that way.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here.
Churches are not a business. I mean, many of them are in some ways, but
post-COVID, neither have been we.
That's true. Yes, you said it, not me. Okay, we like to start with the news. So you chose not to play the K-pop Demon Hunters movie this past weekend. We all know why. You have a long-standing feud with Netflix. You will not play their movies. They do not adhere to.
All right, I'm going to stop right here just for a second because I tweeted out after that weekend, or maybe even before that weekend, that AMC had refused to play K-pop. And a lot of people were tweeting at that time, Netflix refused to give it to AMC. It doesn't work that way, guys. AMC was playing hardball with Netflix. They stood their ground, and this, it kind of made me mad because that was not a great weekend. It's never fun to just watch money pass you by when all the competitors are making exceptions, and they cleaned up that weekend. But What did you think going into that weekend with the K-pop movie, Mike? Did you think Netflix refused to give it to AMC, or did you think in advance that AMC told Netflix to go jump in a lake?
No, like I remember making a couple tweets about it, and I speculated, and I said, well, maybe AA told Netflix to pound sand. You know, we're not
That's
showing your
exactly.
streaming movies on our theaters, and that's exactly what AMC did. I think the worst thing that could happen for theaters is where they become a second tier service where popular movies on streaming go to theaters after. Like if you want to see the death of AMC and every theater company in the world, you know, start that train of thought. But you know what? I think it was the right thing to do. They still do show Netflix movies if they go to theaters first, even if it's limited runs, you know, for Oscar nominations and this and that. But they drew the line in the sand for a movie that was already streaming, and they wanted to make a quick buck via theatrical. And it was only for a weekend on top of it. It wasn't like they're doing a month run of it. So, you know, I have no problem with them telling the Netflix to pound sand.
I'm sure it was a tough decision, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else caved.
Yeah.
Everybody else caved to the almighty dollar, and AMC is like, nope. Let's listen to the end of Adam's comments here.
To a window that you find acceptable. Your other two rival chains decided to put aside that beef and play that movie for 2 days. Why did you not?
So don't you feel good sitting next to someone who actually has principles?
Okay. No. Are you kidding? You're in Hollywood, so that nobody feels good about that.
and a backbone. And but to slightly correct the question, and it's kind of like we've been funny, haha, but it's like time to be serious. Nothing would make me happier than for Netflix to want to show movies theatrically. We have been trying for years now to convince Netflix that the most successful movies on streaming services are those which have had a robust theatrical release.
Paramount says that's settled. Last week at an event for media, they said it's settled now that movies that go to theaters first do better on streaming.
Mike, let me bring you back here. Were you surprised that Adam said they'd like nothing better than to partner with Netflix if the details could be worked out for appropriate windows?
No, not at all. Netflix makes a massive amount of movies, and of the massive amount of movies they make, they do a bunch of AAA titles that would be great in theaters. I'd love Netflix to go there, but he's got 15 other studios he's dealing with, and he can't treat one specially because everyone else is going to get pissed off, right? It's like you have 12 children. One children can't be the favorite, otherwise you're going to be in big trouble. They all have to be treated equally.
I think he mentions that in a minute, and it was a good point. You can't just make exceptions for one while you're forcing everybody else to a 30 or 45 or 60-day window.
There's another follow on X too for that information who did a deep dive in the data. I think I shared with you a long time ago. It's Entertainment Strategy Guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a deep dive on streaming numbers, direct to stream viewership versus theater, direct to theater, then the streaming numbers after. He came to the same conclusions that by a wide margin, comparing similar budgeted movies, similar genres, by a wide margin, movies that go theatrical do way more streaming hours than movies that go direct to stream. So there is truth to that. Even though he is biased, I've seen that from independent sources agree with the same thing.
Phoenix says, what can we do to stop the bleeding out of the share price? I don't know that there's anything in particular that we individually can do to stop the bleeding, because here's my perspective. All right. Mike might have a different viewpoint, but big money, big institutions, high-speed trading firms, hedge funds, they are going to get in front of the price action and move it into a place that they think it should be. We would need overwhelming buying pressure to counteract that. And the other good way to counteract it is to have a positive catalyst. And right now, I'm not seeing in the short term positive catalysts. I think Q3 is going to be weak, soft, as Mike said 30 minutes ago. And we have the specter of a upcoming dilution vote proxy in October, vote in December. And I get it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everyone on Twitter is petrified to talk about it because they don't want to lose their audience. They want to talk about 2026 box office, 2027 box office. Look at this movie. They will not mention the vote. And if you're struggling to understand why the price is getting bled out, maybe we should have some more conversation about what is about to happen. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, just, try to buy at a good entry.
That's I mean, it all comes down to understand what is going on and be patient for the right timing. I'm not out of the trade right now because I hate AMC. I'm an A-list member. I go to movies all the time. I spend a lot of money there. I'm out of the trade because I can see what is coming. And although I can't predict the future, I can assess my own risk tolerance and say, I can afford to be patient. I can afford to sit out for a few more weeks to see what if. And
so we know 100% they got to cover the convertibles. So there's going to be shares that are going to go as a result of that. But follow the fundamentals. Like, look, 2017, 2018, 2019, AMC had a float of 50 million shares, and they had an authorized float of 550 million. And they didn't sell any shares during that time because they didn't need to. So if the fundamentals turn around and they're generating cash, I don't care if they have an authorized volume of 10 trillion shares. They don't need to do an offering.
Yeah,
so number one,
I would love to see them talk about that in October too. Like, hey, we're asking for X shares, but if we have positive cash flow, we don't intend to use them. That would be like the icing on the cake. Like, I don't know if they'll do that, but
so I think they have to cover the convertibles for sure.
They have to cover the convertibles, otherwise they get a higher interest rate and they have to pay a pretty steep cash penalty, millions of dollars.
So when I look at the debt, there's so the ratios now look bad, but your debt to EBITDA, if your EBITDA goes up, then your ratios look better. So if the box office in 26 and 27, that EBITDA gets up to like 700 million, 800 million a year, all of a sudden your debt to EBITDA is at a bit high, but a generally healthy level. And so, like, why do you need to do aggressive paying down debt through dilution? Now, if the box office isn't great and the EBITDA numbers are 500 million for the year or something, then maybe that's a step they have to take to bring that interest cost down. But I'd
like them, Mike, to get in a position where they can coast and pay the bills.
Yeah.
And then just
drop 50 million on debt a quarter.
Or not even that. You could have a scenario like with Highcroft where the metals prices went up and Highcroft was able to sell some unexpected shares at substantially higher numbers. Like, same thing could happen with box office. If box office really starts surpassing expectations, then you sell some extra shares.
So the way I kind of see it is like, once you start getting to box office of around 10 billion, then in order, like, you can coast, but in order to cut down debt and start really getting profitable, you're looking at interest rates or you're looking at offerings, right? Once you get to 11 billion, if that's kind of where everything ends up at, and 11 billion box office is not full recovery to COVID tickets sold, right? Ticket prices are up. So it's not an unreasonable number, but if you get there, then all of a sudden you're generating excess cash and you can pay off debt through ops, and your EBITDA is getting sky high. So it really around that 10 billion, you kind of have this slow recovery that's going to take 5 to 7 years probably. But if you get a bit higher, then that recovery all of a sudden is starting to look like 3 or 4. So it really depends on what the box office does. I think the other good point is that the price action on AMC can be weird. So, all of a sudden, if it bumps up to 10 and they can drop 100 million shares, fucking rights, man, there goes $1 billion worth of debt.
And I think the other thing to not lose sight of, Mike, is that if, just like GameStop, if the price shoots up, they're going to sell some shares. I would expect that for AMC at any time in the future. If the price shoots up and they have shares available, they will sell shares because the balance sheet is still upside down. They got to improve those ratios a little bit more.
Well, if the ratios are already fine because of increased box office, like you said, increased box office fixes all the ratios, right?
I'm looking at the debt to asset ratios right now.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to see
I'm thinking
debt.
debt to EBITDA and EBD, but it's
That, I mean, there are a lot of ratios to consider, but I'd like
Yeah.
to not have an upside down balance sheet where we have far more debt than we do assets. I'd like to, you
Yeah.
know, in an ideal world, have positive working capital and assets greater than liabilities, but we're still, you know, we got
Yeah.
some time, some work to be done to get there. And a
Yeah,
bigger box
100%.
office, like you said, would help.
Yeah. But I think we have to be careful with those ratios. Like AMC is still functionally the same business as it was in 2019. They just have this, you know, part of their debt ratio now is this we talk about this all the time is their future interest expense, you know, their lease liabilities. So should the company be valued less because an accounting rule changed, even though that's getting paid through ops? I you know, or should these ratios be all screwed up as a result of that? I don't. Maybe Wall Street sees things differently, right? I guess that more matters with how they see things than how I do. So,
Dink says, what if Adam invests in an AI company? What if Adam invests in that little AI company that I bought, Dink? Huh? I'm just.
Well, Highcroft's getting better.
Highcroft is getting better. I'm loving. I want so badly for the Highcroft investors to see that thing get over $10-11 again.
It'd be
it would be such an epic told you so moment for those people that held through all of that shit.
Just tell everybody to shut the fuck up. And
Yeah.
a big guy comes in and Goldcorp buys them out and their biggest silver mine in the United States. Oh, I'd fucking love it.
I would love that day. I'm not going to predict that day, but man, I would love to see it.
It'd be a lot of fun.
And you know, the higher gold and silver go, the more likely that day becomes a possibility.
Yeah.
And it's settled at Disney and at Warner Brothers and at Universal and at Amazon and at Apple.
Yeah.
It's just not, you know, F1.
Well, they put Amazon and Apple both put movies on their streaming service.
F1.
Yeah, the windowing is not secure. We'll get to that, but the windowing of the streamers is not.
But
the bigger
F1 was a
studios-
major theatrical release, and we've thought, and my hat's off to Apple. I think they did a great job with F1, and it was a wonderful movie. And you didn't have to be an F1 fan to really enjoy the story. It was a really well-made movie. But I think we won that argument with everybody but at Netflix, and we've tried. I mean, I personally spent hours and hours trying to get The Irishman into theaters.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Did you feel like that was going to happen? Is that the closest you've gotten to having a deal?
No, the closest we got was
Mike, was The Irishman the one with Denaro?
Yeah, that was a Scorsese one. I think it was about 3.5 hours
Yeah.
long.
Did that go
I remember watching
cinematic?
it. No, I remember watching it on Netflix. It wasn't. I found it boring. Actually, wasn't my favorite movie, or maybe because I was sitting at home and playing on my phone the whole time.
NXO773 says, with AMC near 278, is there a real risk it will fall below $2 soon? I can't. You know, my crystal ball is not that good. Not NXO. I think fundamentally, just thinking of box office, Q3 is probably getting priced in right now. That's why the price is getting smacked. Q4 will be better. And if there was nothing else on the table, I would expect things to look better on the stock price into Q4 and into next year. However, we do have this big elephant in the room sitting on the table, and that is the proxy that's going to come out in October, and none of us know what's on it. So I don't know if it'll fall to $2. We're a month away from finding out what they're going to ask for.
Yeah, what's your time frame? If it falls to $2, are you trying to sell in a month, or are you trying to sell in 3 years? If it falls to $2, that seems like a buying opportunity to me, without knowing what's on the proxy.
I think the fear, you know, being pushed by the bears is if he asks for 500 million more shares and a reverse split, that immediately it's going to, you know, get tanked 90% again. I don't know. I'm not trying to game all of that out right now because I exited the position, so I don't have to worry about it, and I will decide what to do after October.
And a reverse split doesn't bother me so much. Like, say if they do a 2-to-1 or something like that, it's the dilution that is what causes the depreciation in stock price, right? Reverse split doesn't change your ownership.
Yep. That, man, I'm not looking forward to having that conversation with everybody again.
It'd be
Like,
awful.
they don't get it. Reverse
would turn
split
off-
does nothing. You must understand if there's dilution coming behind it, though. That will drop the price.
I
And what-
would turn off. I would turn off X for the next 2 months. I'll give you my phone number, Tony. You can text.
Right.
I would not go near a computer. It'd be fucking awful.
Oh man.
The Knives Out sequel, The Glass Onion, which we actually played, hoping that it would convince Netflix that they would make money from it, and it would increase the ratings of Glass Onion on its streaming platform.
But let's go back to The Irishman for a second, because that was one of my things that readers said was one of the biggest calamities of the past 15 years. You guys were close. Netflix.
I'm going to skip this talk about The
we did announce we
Irishman.
were going to play Narnia, and that is yet another carrot out to Netflix. We didn't do it so much for Netflix.
He said they are playing
IMAX.
Narnia later
IMAX,
this
we're
year
very close to IMAX,
for
and this was an
Netflix.
important project for IMAX.
Because of IMAX.
And as a favor to the CEO of IMAX, I said, yes, we'll play Narnia. Other circuits have not yet said yes.
That is true.
And this still dangles out a carrot. I don't want to be a foe of Netflix. Netflix is a great company. I would love to play Netflix movies in our theaters, but hence going back to principles and this past weekend and K-pop, we need a respectable theatrical window, because if I do something for Netflix, a 2-week window or something, how do I say to Disney or Warner Brothers or Sony or Paramount, oh, yeah, but for you, it's 45 days. It's just...
There's that point you were talking about, Mike. There's that point, like how can we give Netflix a pass and then tell Paramount, Disney, and Warner Brothers and everyone else you got 45 days?
Yeah.
What is the Narnia window? Is it 2 weeks?
It's like 2 or 3. I think it comes out like end of November, and then they want it on Netflix by Christmas or something like that. So it's about 3 weeks.
I've always been a fan of C.S. Lewis, and I've read the book several times growing up, and I'm certain I'll go see this movie, even though it is Netflix, just because But
again, that was an IMAX deal, and I think that probably pissed people off for him to do that. But
AMC has a strong relationship with IMAX, and this was important to IMAX.
Yeah, but and I don't think Netflix is ever going to change. They want people on their app all the time.
I think they're about to get into that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Here.
So, well, hopefully it does, but we'll see.
Hey, Sparky, how you doing? Let's keep going here.
I mean, this is a movie that came out 2 months ago. You're doing 2 days. It's not
a stunt.
Yeah.
You play movies all the time that came out and have been on home video for a long time. You did E.T. re-release. You're doing Wizard of Oz re-release.
But that's different. Those aren't re-releases, and they're intended to be re-releases. They're not intended to be new movies. If this industry, like you said, that David Ellison said this is a settled question, and I believe he's right.
He has an incentive to say that, by the way. He's competing for talent with Netflix and going aggressively after their talent. And I've always said that the talent is going to be what breaks Netflix. It's not going to be you. They don't need you. It's going to be filmmakers that say, we're going to take our project you want to Paramount because they're going to give us theaters.
You're probably right. But having said that, David Ellison did actually say it's a settled question. And we believe that it's in studios' interest to take movies to theaters first, because if they do, when those movies, first of all, they're going to make a lot of money. Remember, this industry pre-COVID grows $43 billion globally, and the studio share of that is substantial. We believe they'll make a lot of money from their theatrical run, and when they then take the movies to streaming services, they're going to be watched that much more. It's not going to be some endless scroll of title after title after title that you don't know what the movie is. I mean, the most successful movie I think on Paramount Plus was Top Gun Maverick. Why? Because it was $1.5 billion theatrical run. That's why.
Mike, why do you think, Mike, that more talent, as Matt was saying, is not drawing a line in the sand with Netflix? Like, why do they keep caving?
Well, I think so. There's two things with talent, as I understand how the industry works. So number one, so Netflix doesn't pay out residuals, right? So they pay out upfront cash. That's why their production budgets are like astronomical. When you hear like this Netflix movie cost $180 million, like for Happy Gilmore 2 or something like that, because everything gets paid up out front. Now, I think the way theatrical works, and especially for big name directors and big name actors, they can work into their contracts residuals based on how the box office does, based on licensing after the fact. So even though the upfront payment might be smaller for very successful movies, they can really make bank. And I think that makes more sense to them. And the second part is like, like just look like how many Netflix movies do you remember that you watched 2 years ago? Like how do you get a name for yourself and become a star and get somewhere in the industry when you're just going, you're just spitting out a bunch of chum all the time that nobody remembers, it has no place in the cultural fabric of society. I think that's a really good argument. You don't get that with direct to streaming titles. I think there's maybe one or two movies, a couple of shows, a couple TV shows really have stuck out, but movie wise, without the theatrical release, I think they're missing that. And more big name directors and actors want that. Probably partly, if it's a big movie, they get way more money. And the other part is, well, a big part of their career is their image and them being memorable and then people wanting to see them again. And when you're in the Netflix movie mill, stuff just gets forgotten after a week after it's put on there, and it's not good for anybody's career, right? That would be my opinion on why you're seeing that push. Some people just don't care. They got money up front and they're good to go.
I think Matt was spot on his analysis, though. Is it will be the talent, it will be the film directors that force Netflix hand if it ever happens, not AMC or any other exhibitor, because Netflix seems very content doing what they're doing as long as the talent toes the line.
So if you want bullish things for the industry, like this Ellison guy seems like a real fucking pit bull, and he's like no holds bar. He's going after Netflix pretty hard talent wise, and a lot of directors and actors are speaking out. So I think that's where you're going to see it. I'm disappointed that Sandler's with Netflix. I would have loved to see a few of his comedies on the thing, but I guess it just depends. There's probably enough talent to go around, but if Netflix keeps losing more and more of it, they're just going to become this, Hallmark movie streaming service, and they're going to be paying all these other studios license fees for all their theatrical movies. Like, look, what do you watch on Netflix? Old TV shows and old theatrical movies. It's like a digital blockbuster, and they're getting into like some sports and some WWE, but like how. So this is the argument I always have for someone like for example, like an Amazon. So Amazon's not a company that's going to get pushed around by Netflix. They got a fucking $3 trillion market cap. They can drop some money. They can develop some movies and talent. But 10 years from now, say Amazon, MGM, from all the information I've seen over the last year or so, coming from like the conventions specific to the industry, like Amazon's locking in and they're planning to make their 10, 12, 15 movies a year. Well, look what Prime Video looks like 10 years from now. They have 100 to 150 exclusive theatrical movies with at least a portion of them paid off. Well, Netflix has dropped for 150 movies, like 10 billion, 8 billion with no return to show. How is that a competitive advantage?
I'm going to just keep praying that capitalism wins in the end, Mike.
Yeah. And so Netflix has a massive head start, and they're a great company, and they offer a great service, and they have great licensing deals. But once you get these other big players, you got so MGM, Amazon, is their streaming service. Now they're going to be bidding on licensing movies too, and so Netflix can't push the studios around anymore. And then maybe if Apple gets into it. So all of a sudden you have a competitive market. Plus you have these one company going theatrical and making 150 exclusive movies over 10 years that are exclusive to their service. And this other one that's dumping all this money into it, trying to keep afloat. And, like what was that one movie they made $300 million, Electric something? Like nobody watched it. Nobody even remembers it anymore.
Who made the War of the Worlds one with Ice Cube or whoever the fuck that was?
Yeah, I think that was on Prime or something like that. That was like, they did that over COVID, and apparently it was just awful.
Good Lord. I tried to watch a couple minutes of that, and I was like, oh no, I'm not wasting my time. This is horrible.
Yeah,
it's like a college project.
Yeah, there's your B movie. That one's not worthy at theaters. Yeah. And there's, you know what? There's a place for that though. There was direct to video movies on VHS and DVD and all that kind of stuff back in the day. But that's my point long term, and that's why I think like Netflix is a juggernaut and it's a good business. But over a long period of time now, with some real competitors who have real money, How do they compete? The other companies have an advantage because they have a better business model.
NXO says he hears that after Adam Aron retires, it could affect the chances of a short squeeze. I'm just going to say this, NXO. How many things have you heard over the last 3 years where you were told by someone on social media, if only this happens, all the meme stocks are going to squeeze? Regulation XYZ, Evergrande, the market crash, the market rise, the reverse repo. This is all nonsense put out by people who have nothing better to say. I don't see any reason why a CEO leaving would cause a short squeeze. A new CEO coming in, first of all, who's it going to be? What kind of connections do they have into the industry? Are they plugged in to the industry like Adam Aron is? And what could they do different? You're still stuck with the same balance sheet and box office. So you're going to tell me that a couple hundred people that are mad at Adam Aron are suddenly going to start buying millions of shares because the CEO changed? No, I think that's just horseshit pushed by people who don't like Adam Aron.
Yeah. Looking at some of the creative financing he's done, a CEO with his experience, I think if he had other people in his place, they would have been bankrupt a long time ago. So he's doing his job. It's tough on shareholders with all the dilution, but he's,
I mean, even if you don't like him, I can't see what a different CEO is going to bring to the table that would fire off a short squeeze.
Figure out a way to get that occupancy from 14% to 50.
I'd be worried that a new CEO would be like, yeah, we need to bankrupt this thing. I'm not going to fight this fight. I'm not going to deal with these retail traders. It's much easier just to go ahead and not dilute and work out a plan where I get my golden parachute and put it into Chapter 11. That's what I would be worried about with a new CEO, honestly.
Yeah. With him, it's ego, or it's like he feels some sort of responsibility. I don't know the guy. He could be a slime ball. He could be the nicest guy in the world, but he's staying in the fight for a reason. He doesn't have to. He's putting up with a ton of shit for reasons only known to him.
If you know who Sue Gove is, you will understand the statement I just made about fearing a new CEO. She was brought in to Bed Bath & Beyond, and she put the thing in fucking bankruptcy.
Well, maybe that's what certain people want, Tony.
I'm certain that's what she was put there for a reason, to bankrupt the company. People keep on trying to spin Adam Aron as he's working for the shorts. He's done everything except put the company in bankruptcy. He didn't make you keep buying while he was diluting. He told you there was going to be more dilution and they needed to fix the balance sheet. You need to listen and then make your, roll your dice. But he has fought bankruptcy.
I'm sure John Hempton would love to handpick a CEO for AFC.
Exactly. All right, let's keep going here.
He said that if the industry trains consumers that movies aren't going to have a theatrical run, and they just wait a week or two, and movies are at the home, free, I might add.
Well, free with quotes.
Well, incrementally free, right? I mean, you pay your monthly fee, but watching the next movie doesn't cost anything. If we train consumers to stay home, they will do what we train them to do. They will stay home. That's not good for studio incomes who depend on their split of ticket revenue. So I think Ellison is right. And it's in my interest to say that too, right?
Sure, of course.
But I happen to believe it, which makes it even more convenient.
But do you feel like do you feel like you may have already lost that battle? Like, are you going to get people who now just wait for movies to be available at home to come more just because the window goes from 2 weeks to 4 weeks or 6 weeks?
Depends on your perspective. We've sort of won the war, or we've sort of lost the war. We've lost the war in the sense that for 11 years in a row, pre-COVID, the box office was this is the domestic box office, the basic unit of measurement of this industry, Canada and Mexico, Canada and the US, all theaters, all movies. The box office was over $10 billion 11 years in a row. It was over $11 billion 5 years in a row, the last five. And, it's where we're in year 5 of walking through the wilderness. And the box office will be over $9 billion this year. But it's not going to be 10. It's not going to be 11. So,
and a lot of that is due to price increases in PLFs, premium screens.
Yeah. The number of tickets sold.
Let me just rewind that for a couple seconds here.
10. It's not going to be 11 years in a row. The last all movies. The box office was over $10 billion 11 years in a row. It was over $11 billion 5 years in a row, the last 5. And, it's we're in year 5 of Walking Through the Wilderness, and the box office will be over $9 billion this year, but it's not going to be 10, it's not going to be 11. So,
and a lot of that is due to price increases in PLFs, premium screens.
Okay,
Yeah. The number of tickets sold is down.
But here's why we've won. I said, depending on your perspective, if you look at individual movie titles, there are plenty of movie titles that are doing wonderfully well. And I think we have proven over and over and over and over that when Hollywood makes a movie that has real appeal, consumers pour out in droves. We're now putting out press releases kind of routinely on Monday mornings after huge weekends. And I'm signing off on press releases that say there were 5 million people in our theaters this weekend. There were 7 million people in our theaters. And when I say our theaters, I don't mean the whole industry. I mean just AMC. Like, people are showing up. Go back to, we didn't make we only showed movies for 103 years. And 2 years ago, we did our famous Taylor Swift movie. It grossed $260 million plus. I mean, our theaters were packed. So,
okay, but that's not all the time. And it's not, the way you have increased your margins and made more money is from ticket increases and from in-theater advertising. So I want to talk.
Before we get into in-theater advertising, and I don't know, Mike, do you think we should listen to the in-theater advertising rant here? Or I want to hear your thoughts about what Adam said. He didn't talk yet about 2026. He just said this year is not going to be 10 or 11.
Yeah. To me, it goes to the same thing. So looking forward, with comments from Amazon MGM and Skydance, Paramount, they're talking about increasing releases. So I'm looking at Q2 of this year, 219 releases. 2024, 224 releases. 2023, 197 releases. 2019, 368 releases. So my hope is, now that I guess these mergers have been completed, we've got another big studio in there, still up in, I'm not going to say anything about Apple because still up in the air Apple. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're going to be more than a couple of big movies a year. So I'm not counting them in. So look, this year, if that 200, so say Paramount Skydance was done and they went from there, they said, I think 10 movies to 20 movies. And so over that quarter, you have 3 more movies. That 2.6 billion turns into 2.7, 2.8 billion.
Yeah.
Now add another 150 million, 200 to every quarter, because you're getting 3 more movies from a big studio and then half a dozen movies from smaller studios. And then all of a sudden you're looking in really good shape and you're getting back to 1 billion tickets sold. It's not
if the quality is there, Mike,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like 3 movies that make 300 million each in a quarter, that's if you could do that 4 quarters in a row, that is a huge change to the box office from where we're at right now.
Well, 3 movies that are $50 million each in addition per quarter. That's that turns this quarter from 2.6 to over 2.8.
Yep.
And then you're at 28% market share. Not only are you earnings positive, but you're significantly cash flow positive, and your EBITDA is probably over 200 million. So again, when I look at this, there was a great number of blockbusters, but the volume still isn't there.
Yep.
And so we really need to see these guys put more movies in theaters. I think the quality and the amount of big movies is fine, but we're still lacking some the comedies, the rom-coms, some adult dramas that make 40 or 50 million.
And I think we need to continue to be vocal to the studios on social media to put out shit that doesn't turn people off.
Yeah.
Stop all this woke bullshit and put out movies that people actually want to go see.
It was funny. It's like there was some article and they're talking about Disney's trying to get back the Gen Z males, or whatever that is, like the 19 to 26-year-old males. Well, you had fucking Star Wars and Marvel, you fucking idiots. How'd you screw that up? And then there was some comment underneath. Yeah. And so it was like, yeah, so here's the title of the movie that will bring the kids back. bikini clad babes with AR-15s. I just laughed. I'm like, but you know,
sounds like a smash hit to me,
yeah,
Mike.
like I'd go see it. You know what? But it's just like everything doesn't have to be so politically correct. Like, you know, I put on a movie with a decent plot that's got Sydney Sweeney in a bikini half the time, and you're going to see the boys there, right?
Yep.
So just like I think if people just stop being so sensitive, and we can be a little bit crude, and we're allowed to find things, you know, allowed to see beautiful women on the screen dressed nicely, and the women can have their Jason Momoas and this and that, and we enjoy watching that. I think that filling in some of that gap and drawing those different audiences in who just want to be entertained for a couple hours, that would be huge. And they don't have to be big. They could be $30 or $40 million. But you put 5 or 10 more $30 or $4 million in a quarter, AMC doesn't have a problem anymore. It's not big. You don't need $1 billion movies. You just need to fill in, you know, get that 219 up to 250, 260, and there's no problems anymore.
Kenneth is asking, is it possible to force Adam Aron to retire by a proxy vote? No, it is not. The CEO is appointed by the board. We can vote on the board, but we only vote for, what is it, Mike, 3 seats per year?
Yeah, well, you know, the funny thing was, too, on the last vote, they had it so you could vote everybody every year, but they voted it down.
I know. All the Project Popcorn people got real vocal on social media and said, whatever the company is telling you, vote no. So you guys had a chance last year to replace the entire board on the next vote. But because people listen to social media, they's like, no. The company's saying we should do this, so automatically vote no. Now you can't even replace the board. You had a shot. You had a shot where you could kick the CEO out by putting in board members that were, you replace the entire board with someone that wants a new CEO. You had a shot. Now you're fucked because you listened to people last year that told you to vote no on that proposal. And we're stuck with the same old thing, 2 or 3 board members per year. That's the most, it's a minority, 1/3 of the board.
And it's hilarious too, because like you know, this company that's trying to fuck you over and be shady and stuff, they gave you the opportunity to replace them all, and you said no.
Yeah. And the people that hate that hate management the most were the ones pushing for the no vote on that, which I found hilarious.
Oh yeah, I was laughing.
Like, tell me you don't understand what you're reading without saying it out loud. Yeah. You just pissed away your chance to be able to replace the entire board because you're obstinate, you're angry, you're emotional, and you don't understand what you're reading.
Yeah. But anyways, for all the people that hey and want him to retire, guys like 71 years old now, he's not far off. He's got maybe a couple of years at most. I think he just getting these financing deals done and waiting for the company to turn the corner so he can kind of be like, look what I did, and then he'll be out of there. So you won't have to wait much longer. You won't have to force him out. He's an older gentleman. He won't be around forever.
Michael says, why does AMC keep making new lows? I don't want to keep repeating the same thing that I've said on every AMC video once a week when I make them. And we already talked about it briefly in this video. Go watch one of my AMC videos, any of them in the past 3 months, at least. Q3 is going to be soft, and there's a upcoming proxy. And no, I'm not trying to scare you. What do the YouTubers, the other guys say? If you mention the vote, you're working for the shorts, you're working for the hedgies, you're just trying to scare people. No, I want you to be informed why the price is being pushed down. There's going to be a vote for dilution in a proxy in October and a vote in December. And these guys are scared shitless to talk about it because they don't want to lose their followers. And I'm not going to play the ostrich in the sand game. I'm going to remind you guys, if you're asking me why the price is under pressure, you better understand what is coming. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but there is a proxy coming, and we know they're going to ask for shares. Plus Q3, the company's going to lose money. So if you're wondering what my opinion is about why the price is under pressure, there you go. Those 2 things. All right, let's keep going. And I'm not saying any of that to be bearish. I just let's have real talk here. This is what's going on. We don't, no one wins by ignoring it except the pumpers.
Talk about that.
But that's actually incorrect. The way we've actually survived COVID and the way that we've made our money, such as it is. And
Besides becoming a meme stock.
Besides that. and I almost don't understand. I understand why the phenomenon occurred. I don't understand why the phenomenon has remained, but it has. Pre-COVID, we sold $5 a head of food and drink on average, to people who came into our theaters. Not everybody stops at a concession stand. Like around half the people who come to the movie theater just buy their ticket. They go into their seat. They don't buy like 1 cent, nothing.
Well, it's because they've stuck the food in their coats and yeah.
Just you.
Just me, yeah.
Anyway.
Oh man, I found that part hilarious, Mike. Like, how many conversations do you think the management has every year about how do we fucking stop people from sneaking snacks in? I mean, you really can't, right?
Yeah, I think you just live with it. Like, I think that's what he's been doing. You make the concessions and the food good enough that they want to buy it from there, and that's all you can do, right? So I'm a big fan of movie popcorn. I think they put crack in it. So every time I go to the theater, like sometimes when I watch a movie at home, we'll drive to our local theater and we'll just buy a bag of popcorn for $12 or whatever the case may be. But what else are you going to do?
It kills me, Mike, because I'm trying to do carnivore and I always get the popcorn. And my wife is like, again, like, why don't we get the chicken wings or the pizza? I'm like, I just like the popcorn. It's been a thing since I've been in college, and thankfully I can afford better than the dollar movies now, because the dollar movies popcorn is not so good. Let me tell you. But this AMC and put the fake butter shit on there.
We got a thing when me and the old lady go to a movie. It's a large popcorn with extra butter, some score bits, and a big glass of Sprite with no ice. And that's we tried switching it up once or twice, and we hated it. And that's our go-to every time we go. So
my wife rarely eats the popcorn. She'll get something else.
Doesn't like the popcorn? Not a popcorn fan?
She's not a fan. I mean, no, not like I am. She'll always, we go to the dine-in theater and she'll always get something else.
Food's good at the dine-in?
Very good. Very good. Great pizzas, great chicken wings. She gets the boneless wings a lot. They have good nuggets. Really good burgers. Yeah, they're fancy chicken nuggets, but they're good.
Good.
But on average, we sold $5 a head. We came back from COVID. It was over $8 a head, like instantly. Like first day we finally reopened. And our profit margin on food and drink is really high. I mean, like we sell.
That's because it's so high quality.
By the way, we're on like 9 questions at the same time, but it is high quality. I actually once went to a cornfield in Illinois.
Oh God!
I got a picture, and I inspected the corn.
I thought that was a fake
the guy
picture.
Grew the corn.
I guess he really went.
Yeah. And he told me, you buy the best corn there is. Wait. And I was running the largest theater chain in the world. We sold like tons of popcorn every day. And I didn't even know there were different grades of corn. So I went back to my F&B department and said, I was just told by the farmer that we buy the best. Oh, yes, we buy the top grade of corn. So it is our quality. But
I thought that story ended with you telling them to cut the budget of the corn.
No, actually, it was
the audience is cracking me up, Mike.
Oh yeah, actually, funny story. I remember going to the movie theater and they changed the popcorn. This was maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and they got so many complaints about it because it wasn't as good.
At AMC?
No, this is a different theater. I don't have an AMC next to me. So, but there were so many complaints within a week they switched back right away. Like they're just like, yeah, okay, we're not fooling around with this new supplier. This is not working. Done. So.
It's a special combination of the corn, the oil that they fry it in, and the buttery topping.
Yeah, it's delicious, man.
Yeah, man, I wish AMC would get a Parmesan truffle popcorn. That's you think regular butter popcorn is crack? That is crack. I think I've talked to you about that before, Mike. The truffle Parmesan.
Where do you have that?
Alamo Draft House.
Alamo, yeah. Okay.
My wife, it's everything I can do to fight her off every time. Can we go to Alamo? No, we're not going anywhere until AMC's fixed. There's plenty of movies, plenty of food you can pick at AMC. We're not going to Alamo. I can make you some truffle butter Parmesan popcorn at home if that's what you want. We're not going to Alamo. Kenneth says, why is Adam Aron scared to report manipulation to the SEC? I would just ask you, Kenneth, of all the CEOs, and I'm tracking 25 different companies at least. I've got a whole list up here on my upper screen of all the companies that have hired share intel, West Christian, fighting shorts and manipulation, suing people in court. Name one of them that their stock price has done anything different than AMC. None. They're all in the gutter.
And the problem is half the CEOs that are doing it are just fucking shysters.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
all the, good CEOs know that stocks are manipulated. I know the people that hate me using that word. Manipulated just means they're going to drive the price to what they think is fair value, and there's not much we can do about it. And they've got a lot more money and a lot of legal ways to do that.
And even on my end, where I find the tinfoil and I find the accusations of manipulation and the data. Like there's some people who've done really deep dives, like intelligent people who've pulled out data, trading data, all sorts of stuff. I don't know enough about it to know. I don't know the mechanics of the market, but I find it interesting enough that if there is manipulation and if it does get fixed and AMC goes to the moon, well, lucky fucking me. But yeah. I'm not going to risk everything on the small chance that that's the case. I'm looking long-term fundamentally at it. And, that's just kind of like a little bonus bet on the side. See if
that was a big shift that I had to do too, Mike. First, I did it first on GameStop. I said, because I had a much larger position in AMC. I was like, let me just set all of that aside for GameStop. And the time where I made that decision was when they did the split dividend, remember that 4 for 1. I switched to swing trading GameStop, and I have made nothing but profits since then, swing trading it. There were a couple trades per quarter where I got out flat just because of timing, but I haven't been losing money on GameStop. And eventually I made the same decision with AMC. Is like, if you can let go of manipulation being the key driver of how you decide when and at what price to invest, I think you can still benefit if some manipulation is uncovered at some point. I'm not saying don't buy the stock. I'm saying shift your analysis of why you're buying it and when and at what price you're willing to buy it at.
Yeah.
I can still believe that people are doing stuff illegal. It's a bonus for me now if someone uncovers that.
Well, yeah, and like when I first got in, I got roped into all the Wall Street bet stuff. Like I was a complete degenerate and completely irresponsible. Like I put my full bag into a number of stocks, but I was lucky enough that I got some sense. There was I remember back in 2021, there was like 3 run-ups. There was one up to like 72, and there was a couple in the 40s. I think it was like the third one in the 40s. I took out my initial investment and put it back in the ETFs, but the rest I held. And I could have made a lot of fucking money if I would have sold the tops. So it wasn't life-changing money, but it was a comfortable amount of money, right?
I resisted doing a lot of normal things, Mike. Like I resisted selling covered calls because I was scared. What if it runs up? Stupid. That was stupid. Like, why didn't I treat AMC like any other stock? I should have, but
because look at the price action, Tony. It was crazy. It was absolutely
it was more volatile,
yeah.
But I'm in other stocks, Mike. I'm okay with volatility. I pick a point at which I'd be willing to exit the trade, and then I just sell the covered call. And
but I was in it, and I was probably maybe about 30 or 40% from like I've got my bag now. I can work for 2 or 3 more years and I can retire. And that's my mentality. So I got a little bit greedy, right? I was smart enough to take my original investment out. Otherwise I could have lost it all, but I held through. I waited. I was waiting for another squeeze. I was waiting for another big bag, and it never happened. So all that profit that I got, it ended up going away, but I was smart enough to cover my own bag. Because I was so involved in it, and because I'm like OCD, that's when I started looking at the filings and the fundamentals. And all the manipulation stuff still in the back of my mind, right? And I follow enough people who aren't grifters, who are just pointing out inconsistencies where, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for me, rebuilding a position in the stock, since it's kind of come down, and look, it's completely based on the fundamentals. It's 90% that, and 10%, if this happens, great. If it doesn't, I probably should be okay for a long-term investment for a couple of years here. And that's how I've managed the risk for me, right? So,
I try not to give anybody a hard time that is really active in investigating manipulation. Like if that's your thing, hey, knock it out. But for me, I had to shift how I analyze and decide when and at what price to invest. And manipulation has become a bonus, not the driving decision.
Because even if it's blatantly obvious it's manipulated, like all these people say, well, if there's no enforcement, nothing's ever going to fucking change, and you can catch.
And how do you ever win?
And how? Yeah. So we'll see what happens. There's a little 10% of that, and I think there's some smart people that have some interesting DD about it. But I wouldn't put my money if I wasn't bullish on the industry long term, and I didn't think there was an outsized return on AMC.
And the companies, Mike, that I've watched that went from failing to skyrocketing price, what changed in them that made the price run up?
Like Carnival, right? It was the fundamentals.
The fundamentals, yes.
And then that got all the shorts out, and that cascaded.
Once a company becomes profitable, positive EBITDA, positive free cash flow, growing revenues, the short thesis evaporates, and you're just off to the races.
So if people do have trillions of swaps hidden away in Cayman's accounts, then they're going to get the fuck out, or they're going to lose their bag.
Yeah.
Right. So if that happens, and that's the case with AMC, sure, great, good for me. But if it doesn't, at least hopefully the market works enough that they'll value it fundamentally, and I'll make a good return over a few years, right?
NXO says 4 million investors hold 1.3 billion in AMC stock. I don't know that there's 4 million investors, first of all. Yeah. One thing that we learned during the lawsuit back in 2023, I got multiple postcards. I had AMC in multiple accounts. I got multiple postcards, and I know people said there are people saying he doesn't own AMC. I did own AMC in multiple accounts, and I got multiple postcards, and so did a lot of other people. I think there might have been 4.1 million account holders. I don't think there were ever 4.1 million investors. I don't know what the number was, but it's some number far smaller than that.
Yeah. Well, but on the other side, when you look at it too, the Investors Connect numbers went from like 1 million to 1.7 million or something like that too.
Yeah, right? There might be 1.7 million.
And that's grown. So there
might be 2 million.
But we don't know. It's like it's all speculation, and basing your investment, like risking all your money on speculation like that, that's too much risk for me. Some people might want to do that.
The other thing I see people, no one's selling. I hear this not just in AMC, in every damn ticker, because I follow all the retail tickers. Yeah. Look, I'm a YouTuber. I have 24,000 subscribers. I've watched a lot of them fly away. I've had many of them tell me, Tony, I sold, I'm out. There's definitely people selling, you guys. It's not 4 million people that have been holding since 2021. I'm sorry. It's just not. I don't know what to tell you. I talk to people every day that sold. My viewers, people in my Discord. And there are many of us that are waiting to buy again when the moment is right. Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep going.
Opposite, and this shows you, you're a pessimist and I'm an optimist, and you're a little cynical about how businesses work. And I actually believe that the best way for a company to thrive is to please its customers. I've always felt that.
Okay, but then let's go back to the ads, because that does not please the customer. They absolutely hate it.
I understand. I'll come there in a second. But
I don't want to hear this conversation
what
about
you
the
said,
ads.
tell them cut the budget. No, what I said,
Mike, I don't think we need to hear this, do we? We can skip 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a long conversation about Matt is very mad that AMC is playing one more ad, and Adam is saying, but we're going to cut something.
And just Every other theater shows the ads.
Matt said, Adam, you know, a couple years ago, you were telling us how proud you were that you had less, and now you went to the same as everybody else. So doesn't that make you bad? And Adam said, no, it doesn't make us bad. It makes us the same as everyone else. Hey, the company's got to do what it's got to do to pay the fucking bills.
And he said they were leaving money on the table, and they weren't gaining any market share. So the market speaks, so it was worth for them to get that one.
Let's see where he moves to a different topic. So, subscription programs. This might be interesting.
When I joined AMC in 2016, I said, what about a subscription program? And about 6 months before MoviePass launched, we said, all right, we're finally going to do it. And we went around to every studio pitching the subscription program. And one studio said, and they basically all said yes. Okay. Except for one.
And why was it Disney?
And, and the one.
And how quickly did they escort you out?
No. And the one said, we're all for the idea, but we can't do it before January 1 because we have a contractual deal with a certain streamer that prohibits us from doing this. So we're supportive, but you got to wait till January. And in July or August, MoviePass launched. So actually, before then, we were going to go.
It was your idea, yes.
I will say,
having said that, MoviePass did come along, and it was a nightmare for us because we believed in the concept, and we were planning to launch, but we were planning to launch at a $20 price point. And they came out at a $10 price point. And we were convinced that at a $20 price point, you could make this thing work. This is in 2018. This is a long price point ago. At $20 price point, you could make it work. And at $10, it would be an economic disaster. And it turned out to be an economic disaster. And the two principals of MoviePass have both been charged federally with securities fraud.
That is.
Did you know that, Mike? That I think you probably know that MoviePass failed back in the day. Did you know that both of the executives got in trouble?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they
learned that on this interview.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. MoviePass, I think, is back right now, but I don't hear much about it.
I think all the theaters have their subscription programs, and they're all so good. Particularly AMC's is unbelievable that I don't think it's going to gain much traction, right?
Yeah, let's hope not.
MoviePass still exists. I want to say they reinvented and they're back.
Totally different.
Yes,
version. But anyway, so yes, it was. It's a good thing that we did, and we always loved the idea, and we didn't do it because MoviePass forced us. We did it as soon as we could. Having said that, I think you want to come back to advertising, right?
You've avoided it for 10 minutes. Please. This is the number one thing.
Time's up already.
No. This is the number one thing.
So nice to be with all of you people tonight.
Matt really wants to talk about the damn advertising, man.
Hate it. And when you went from 20 to 30 minutes on the pre-show.
He says, Mike, people absolutely hate previews. Besides my wife complaining about I order popcorn every time, the other thing that we most commonly argue about is she wants to go sit through 30 minutes of previews, and I don't.
Yeah, so
not everybody hates all the previews.
I am on I like trailers. Like I like seeing what's coming out, and seeing it on YouTube versus seeing it on the big screen gives you a different perspective. So I like it. I think putting ads in the middle of it, that's what pisses people off. You got a trailer, then you got an ad for.
Are there ads though? Whatever. Like I don't watch that many. Yeah. I don't get there 30 minutes before. The only ads I'm aware of, and I could be totally wrong here. You guys correct me. I know there's a Coca-Cola ad and there's Nicole Kidman. That is all I ever see.
Yeah. So
what other ads are there?
So I'll go and I'll see the pre-show, and then they'll have a couple ads, and then they'll start the trailers. And in between the trailers, this is what they're talking about. They throw an ad in there, and that's the premium ad that they're talking about that AMC never took, and that the other theaters do. So that's what they're complaining about. And it's, I don't know.
Is it just because AMC it's new that I haven't experienced this?
Well, it should be in front of every movie.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to pay more attention.
So like I said, I don't have an AMC next to me. The theater that I go to, they have an ad in between the trailers.
Look, another thing they could do is not have assigned seats. When I was younger and we didn't have assigned seats with the app, you would get there 30 minutes early to get a good seat.
Yeah.
I remember
now,
those
like,
days.
Yeah. And so it's the biggest made up first world problem in the world. If you don't want to watch an ad or trailers, fucking show up 25 minutes later. But don't spoil it for me. I really enjoy the trailers. I like seeing what's coming up.
About once a month, Mike, I will go in and watch every trailer because I want to know what's coming out, but I don't need to see it 4 times a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You go all the time. So like I said, I'm like more a once, twice a month kind of person. So when I go, typically I'm getting fresh ads. And stuff like that.
I'm good with that. Once a month. Hey, let's go watch all the trailers. I want to know. I want to know what's coming out. I want to see if a trailer gets me excited about a movie. And sometimes they do. And sometimes I look at my wife and say, that one's going to suck. All right, let's keep going.
And said, what are you doing? And then you walked it back a little. Explain what you did and why you continue to subject people to this.
Okay, so you're about 80% right.
Okay.
I don't want to hear this conversation
to LinkedIn
about
RP show
advertising.
by just like
This is a long conversation.
And we knew when we made this decision to lengthen the pre-show, we put it far enough away from the movie. We put it most of it way up front. Not Nicole. She's right before the movie starts.
Of course.
She deserves it.
Is a new one coming, by the way?
Someday.
Yeah, you teased a new one, and it wasn't a new one. It was a recut old one.
That's right. I told you, he knows what's going on. It's,
okay. So,
and by the way, we're going to do it again for another year, and we're going to recut it even shorter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. We get another hit out of that. I hope she gets paid more.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I gotta finish the advertising question. So we're taking about 2 minutes of the marketing fluff out, and we're going to show.
That was my question, but I did the why is it Disney earlier, having sort of a love-hate relationship with the studios.
No, it's more love.
More love.
Love. Mild upset. Love.
Which is dysfunctional often.
Which is the hardest studio to deal with?
And why is it Disney?
That was my question, but I did the why is it Disney earlier, so I didn't feel like I could repeat it.
Oh, Mike, that one made me crack up when I heard them say that. Which is the hardest studio to deal with, and why is it Disney?
Yeah, Disney gets a lot of hate.
But Adam, in his next sentence, Adam's going to say, we have not had a problem with Disney.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Disney, some people in Hollywood don't like it.
Yeah, my biggest problem with Disney is just they got a little bit preachy with some of their movies, and it's disappointing. And they didn't have to be. Just make good movies.
Chadster, he says, even Mark Cahotis says on his How to Short Sell article that CEOs directing their attention to talking about their company being attacked by short sellers is never positive. So I think he's agreeing with what we said, Mike, that CEOs who are focused on short sellers and not improving their company are, in my opinion, not focusing on the right thing. Like, fix your goddamn fundamentals, all of you, GNS, Quantum, get some revenue coming in, Finger, GTII, get some revenue coming in, get your balance sheet fixed, get positive income, all things that AMC is clearly working on.
This
the
conversation,
short sellers wouldn't be interested in the ticker.
Yeah, this conversation has been going on for years, and Adam Aron said it
Decades.
years ago.
It's been going on for decades.
But since I've been following this stock, and Adam Aron said it years ago. He's like, the only surefire way anyone's ever got shorts out of their company is by running a successful company.
You guys all know, if you're on social media, Ham Short Killer, and he's been beating this short, illegal shorts thing for decades and hasn't made a lick of change in the market. Not one fucking thing's changed other than we got Reg Show. And that wasn't because of Ham Short Killer.
And there's other people like Susan Trembath and other people who talk about FTDs and market rules. And I guess there is the space for that, and all the power to those people doing it. But you can hope for something different, or you can live in reality. And the reality is what we got. And you got.
I think we'd all like to see, more transparency on FTDs, more frequent reporting of FTDs and shorts. And I think those are valid things to keep pushing for. But
and there's tons of documentaries. There's people who have worked for investment banks that talked exactly how they short sold illegally exactly how they hide the positions. Like, it's common knowledge, it's out there, but it's not going to change, and it's the world we live in. It's what we got to deal with.
And it's perfectly okay for us to keep on applying pressure on things that we're not happy with, but that does not mean put yourself in bankruptcy while you're fighting.
Yeah.
That's my message to you.
Yeah,
Do not
100%.
fucking lose your account tilting windmills. You can make positive trades in good companies or reasonably manage your risk in speculative companies and not lose your ass while fighting market corruption. That's how I look at it. All right, let's keep going.
months. And my interactions at every level of Disney have been spectacular. And I'm not, they tweet,
When they're asking for 70% of opening weekend and the split argument is getting really heated.
they don't ask us for 70% opening weekend.
They don't?
No.
Okay.
It helps to be the largest movie theater chain in the world. It helps to sell the most tickets for any studio than anybody else. But having said all that, and I know we were joking earlier and you were saying about like people who say nice things about people. I actually meant what I just said. Our relationships at every level of Disney are spectacular. And I've told them this over and over again. I said, if Disney is a good quarter, we're going to have a good quarter. And if Disney's a bad quarter, we're going to be in trouble. If Disney is a big movie, AMC is going to be really full. And if Disney has a flop, AMC is going to really feel it. So I have so much appreciation for what Disney does. And if you go back over time, I mean, they've had a quarter or two where they've missed, or they've had a movie or two where they've missed. But if you go back the 10 years that I run this company, Disney's had a lot of hits.
They have, but does the Marvel weakness scare you? The new normal for Marvel is not where we were pre-COVID.
Would I love it if Disney is even more successful than it is today? Yeah, I would.
But it's got to be concerning beyond one-off titles.
Well,
it's got to be concerning that each of these Disney Marvel movies seems to be stuck in that 400 to 600 realm and not above that.
We are only 120 days away from a little movie, you may have heard of it, called Avatar, Fire and Ash.
Yes.
He really does a masterful job of pivoting away from directly answering that question.
Yeah, I think
The Marvel question.
so. This is, I've seen some years, and I've been around, and I've been watching movies my whole life. And every decade, there's like a cycle of movies. Like I remember in the 80s, it was buddy cop movies. In the 90s, it was kind of like big epics. In the 2000s, you got into like all these like sci-fi Matrix kind of movies. In the 2010s, it was Marvels, and it's going to shift to something else. It's probably I think the next big one's going to be video game movies. So trying to say the end of Marvel is the downfall of theaters, like just look at a little bit of history.
I think he's just talking about the wokeness of the Marvel movies and their lackluster performance because they took their eye off the ball of what the audience wanted.
And I think Iger's changing things around.
I hope so.
Was oversaturation and wokeness, but I watched Thunderbolts. It was a great movie.
It was, yeah.
I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet. For all the hate that Captain America got, it wasn't top tier Marvel, but I thought it was somewhere in the middle. I liked that movie. I thought that was half decent. But what I think and how much money it brings in the box office doesn't matter. But it sounds like for the wokeness, there is some course correction, but people like superhero fatigue might be a thing. Maybe the next big thing is these video game movies. Like Nintendo's making a movie studio.
I get fatigued. I get fatigued by the superhero movies. Yeah, I do. Yeah. They're not my favorite genre, not even close.
Yeah, and so I think it depends. You got to remember, even when the initial Marvel movies came out, they weren't making $1 billion. Like everyone's trying to compare things to Infinity War, which was like 10 years of lead up, bringing together 30 fucking movies, and they nailed it. They absolutely nailed it, right? So trying to think that every movie is going to be like that is crazy. The box offices are lower than they were, but you got rid of some of your compelling characters and actors, and they'll course correct and they'll adjust, and maybe you'll get another epic run like that when they get into like X-Men or something that people find interesting again. But they're still, pulling in $500 million in box office for superhero movies isn't a fucking bad thing, and everyone's trying to make it like it is.
What was that other one recently? The superhero movie with was it Deadpool?
Deadpool Wolverine did
Yeah,
huge. Yeah,
that
very
one was
popular
fantastic,
character.
man.
Oh yeah, that was
If
hilarious.
every superhero movie was
Yeah.
like that, I'd go see them all.
And Guardians of the Galaxy 3, my old lady's not into him. She loved that one, man. She was in tears, that whole thing, crying over a digital raccoon. She absolutely loved that one. So you're going to see some Marvel movies that come out or that are just absolute hits. And if the ones in between make $500 million, that's, I don't know how you can call that a failure, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Stop the clock on how long it took him to get to Avatar.
I happen to be an optimist about the future of the box office. You and I did a panel together a year and a half ago at CinemaCon, and the box office had been just dreadful up until that panel. Mm-hmm. And I went on that panel and I said, it's about to turn, and the rest of the year is going to be great. And people looked at me like I was the man from Mars, because like, haven't you look in the rearview mirror like it's been terrible? And sure enough, it was great the next 8 months. And as I look ahead, when we called this year, we said the first quarter was going to be a debacle. Second quarter is going to be great. The third quarter is going to be soft. The fourth quarter is going to be great. And all of 2026 is going to be great. And I think just like that prediction I made in April of 24 turned out to be right, I think the prediction that we made at the beginning of this year, I'm reiterating it again tonight unchanged. I think July and August, September will be a little weak. I think October, November, December are going to be great. And I think 26 is going to be a banner year.
Didn't you guys say 2025 was going to be the banner year?
Well, 2025 is probably going to end up, nobody knows exactly, but let's call it $500 million to $800 million bigger than 2024. So that's an improvement. And I think 2026 is going to be $500 million to $800 million, $500 million to $1 billion more than 25. And if you look at our industry, like the sad truth is.
Mike, do you agree with those numbers? 500 to 800 million more this year than last year. And he said 500 to $1 billion more next year than 2025.
Yeah, so September's looking a little bit stronger than expected. And the more I'm seeing of Q4, the more I'm thinking it actually might be bigger than Q2. So I think 9 billion's probably good middle of the ground guess. If it did terrible, you could be 8.9. If you did really good, you could be upwards, so maybe 9.3 or something. 2026 looks really strong. I still don't like the first quarter. If we have another $1.6 billion first quarter, it's going to be a real fucking drag. But it's still so early. You got to see what kind of other movies are going to come out. But I could see. When I was originally looking at the blockbusters, I thought 2026 was over 10 for sure. Yeah. So, and that's within his range, $500,000 to $1 billion bigger than 2025. So
this past weekend, when I was updating my forecasting spreadsheet and looking at Q4 hard again, I was surprised at how many movies I had to add into the Q4 slate.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of new titles that have not that all of them are huge, but I was a little bit worried about Q4, and seeing more titles fill in the gaps is what's the word?
and that's
makes
the thing
me
I was
a little
talking
more
about.
optimistic.
Yeah, that's the thing I was talking about, is volume. Like even September, like there's no real big movies in September, but there's so much volume and there's so much selection that it's kind of like, and like, look, when you look historically, the fall season, which is September, October, you're somewhere between $1 billion and $1.5 billion. So that's only like 500 million to 800 million a quarter or a month. So I think we ended like September and October are looking to be in that historical range, and there's seasonal weakness there, and that's typical. So I don't think we're out to lunch on those numbers. I don't think it's weak like I thought, but I don't think it's particularly strong. We're not going to see the upper end of it, but we should be within historical ranges when these 2 months are done. And then we'll really see what this October, November, December schedule looks like, because that could blow the roof off. As long as fucking Paramount or whoever it is stops doing this stupid 30 fucking day release, or Warner Brothers, they're the bad one. 30-day releases fucking piss me off. They're putting weapons out on streaming.
I know.
That movie's still running legs. What the fuck are you guys doing? You're still going to sell just as many PVODs a month from now as you are a week from now.
especially when the box office is a little bit slow. Like, just let it keep ticking away, man.
Still making $9 million a weekend. Like, do you hate money?
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. That was a phenomenal movie. People are still going to watch it. But that seems to be Warner Brothers' strategy. But yeah.
What are you gonna do? All
Yeah,
right, let's try and finish this out here. We got a few minutes left.
Pre-COVID, you didn't need to be real smart to run a movie theater company. You didn't. The grosses were very reliable. The income flow was very reliable.
But that's kind of the problem. That's why there hadn't been any innovation.
You keep saying that. I keep on giving you this list of all things you've done.
You talk about the recliners. I know you.
Okay, innovation.
Before we go to innovation, just the box office was over 11 billion 5 years in a row. Then it was 2. That's a real kick in the teeth. Then it was 4.5. Then it was 7.5. Then without the Taylor Swift, the Beyonce movies, it would have been 8.7. It was 9 because we invented those in like a few months. Then there were strikes, it fell back to 8.7, basically flat with the year before, prior to, if you exclude Taylor and Beyonce. Then this year, where nobody knows exactly, but call it between 9.0 and 9.6. You know, I think there's a fighting shot that next year is between 9.5 and 10.5. We'll see. It's not back yet to pre-COVID levels, but it's a lot stronger than it's been. If we don't, our profit per patron is up exactly 48% today versus pre-COVID levels. So what we earn from a just average consumer coming into a theater, our profit's up by close to 50%. Why? They're buying more food and drink,
popcorn buckets,
and they're buying merchandise.
Booze.
They're buying. We didn't have bars 10 years ago. We have 350 bars.
Why did they think that was funny? Why are people laughing that we have 350 bars?
Everyone likes alcohol, I guess, right?
Why don't we have 1,000 bars is my question.
There's only 800 theaters.
Why don't we have 800 bars? And like the IMAX AMC that I have here, when I go to the dine-in theater, Mike, the bar, as soon as you walk in, it's very prominent. There's a bar and a lounge right there in the atrium.
They sell a lot of product. They sell a lot of beer.
Oh yeah. It's always full.
Good.
Especially on the weekends. But when I go to the one in the mall where the IMAX is, the theater is shaped like a U, and the bar is not visible anywhere when you're in ticketing or concessions. It's tucked in a corner over on this side. So if you're going to a movie over here, you could see the bar. If you're going to the Dolby, the IMAX, anything on this side, you might not even know the bar is there. I would fucking change that, Adam, if you're watching.
Send an email to investor relations.
I probably have. They never answer me. But yeah, hire me as a consultant and I'll go fix all this shit nationwide. We'll get this bar situation fixed.
Fly me to 350 cities and I'll sample from every bar.
Exactly.
I'll take that job.
All right.
Makes the movie better too.
Yeah.
But merchandise. 3 years ago, we didn't sell any movie-themed merchandise. No.
Yeah, that is insane to me. I don't understand. You've got people like the theme parks know to put the gift shop right when you come out, and the theaters.
Well, we learned it, and right now we're pushing around $100 million a year of movie-themed merchandise in our theaters. From nothing 3 years ago, and this is how we survived COVID actually, because we figured out other things to sell people.
So people have said for years that you should do lower.
Hey, Mike, can you imagine, Mike, if you had a movie auditorium where after you watched Minions, you had to exit a room full of Minions merch?
Kids would go insane.
Like Disney. Like why someone should try that. You don't have to do it with every auditorium, but you should have one auditorium set up as a merch auditorium.
Well, you remember Mihul or whatever? He used to run those spaces, the AMC Idea spaces.
Yeah.
I remember I popped into one of them, and the one thing that I always liked is like an upsell of a ticket. So when you buy a ticket, pay $5 extra, and you get a free digital rental when it comes out on PVOD or something like that. You know, just to start creating some demand for the streaming side of it. Things like that you can upsell right at the ticket, or if you buy a certain combo or whatever the case may be. I always thought that was a good idea. Along with merchandise, right when you come out of the movie, to set up a couple stands seems great. Yeah, kids want to buy a little.
Do they? Hey, speaking of just brainstorming ideas, do they have a referral bonus for if you refer someone to the A-list program?
I'm not sure if they do.
Why not do that?
Yeah, that'd be great too.
Give
Yeah.
someone a free month for every person they refer that signs up for 3 months or more.
Yeah, gyms do it. Why not?
Yeah, a lot of companies do it.
Yeah.
I'd be pushing the hell out of A-List if they paid a referral fee.
Or did you hear, like, maybe you wouldn't like this, but for people interested in fitness, you know, that one movie that's coming out where everyone has to walk, and if they stop walking at a certain pace, they'll die.
Walk.
Yeah, apparently they did some sort of screening where they stuck everybody on a treadmill, and if they don't walk that 3 miles an hour the whole movie, they shut the movie off.
I heard the same headline, but what I heard is if you stopped walking 3 miles an hour, they took you out of the theater. That is hilarious.
That is funny, but hey, there you go.
The Gold's Gym that I used to go to in a different part of town, Mike, they had a movie room. They had all the free weights. They had a pool. They had a movie room with a huge screen. It was dark, and they had 30 different treadmills in there. So you literally could do exactly that.
Yeah. There's another use of space, AMC Fitness. You know, one auditorium, put a movie in there, put a bunch of treadmills, put a bunch of bikes and shit like that.
And then be like Planet Fitness and sell a pizza on the way out the door.
Yeah, 100%. Get a juice bar outside. But
I used to find it so frustrating, though. Like, I'd go in the treadmill to, just to use the treadmill, and I'd watch a movie, but it's a 90-minute movie. You're only on the treadmill for 20 or 30 minutes. So
yeah, that's true.
That's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
All right.
You then this summer have switched to Wednesday also discounts. How did that happen when people have been saying this for a decade at least, that you should have another night of discounts? Why did it take so long? And how does the split work with the studios when you are charging 50% of ticket prices?
So I want to give someone credit. I come out, we're based in Kansas City, where 3 vaudeville Chiefs, Travis Kelce, I got it.
Don't minimize that, please.
I'm not.
It's a big moment for both of them.
For the whole world.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I have the greatest respect. Just remember, we did a Taylor Swift movie 2 years ago. I have the greatest. Words cannot describe how much respect and appreciation I have for Taylor.
Do you want to FaceTime Scott, her father? You've tweeted a lot about her.
I do, because we owe her a lot. We made a lot of money on the Eras Tour movie. Anyway,
he tweets about Taylor a lot.
So did she.
And she deserves it.
Yeah.
But anyway, how do we get there?
The 50% off.
The 50% off. To give somebody credit, we're based in Kansas City. I come out to Hollywood kind of every 6-8 weeks personally, and I usually make the rounds and see a lot of people. And I was at a meeting at Sunny, and with Tom Rothman, the head of Sunny.
Yeah, the head of Sunny.
And he took my head off, and he said, "Movies are too expensive." And literally a light bulb went off.
That can't be true.
I swear to God.
It took a meeting with Tom Rothman to think that maybe a 50% night would be good to double. The numbers on Tuesdays have been larger than the rest of the week for years.
Well, he wanted me to cut prices 7 days a week.
Okay.
And I said that would probably be a disaster, because there are many markets where we tried to cut prices and all it does is cut our income. But I swear a light bulb went off in that meeting, and I thought it's finally time to try. Let's take Discount Tuesdays and turn into Discount Wednesdays.
That is some fascinating little bit of extra data that we didn't know, Mike, that Tom Rothman at Sony was the light bulb that got Adam to finally consider doing Discount Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's, well, you know what? Because like every day is something now. So yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday are discounts. Thursdays, kind of new movie previews. Then you have the weekend. Then you kind of have your screen unseen on Mondays. So there's an event every day now. And I think that's a smart way to go about it. Otherwise, Wednesdays were just sitting there and languishing, right? Wednesday must have been your lowest income day.
I've done a few of the Monday screen unseen. Like if I have nothing going on a Monday night, I would do it every Monday if Mondays weren't busy.
Yeah.
But I have made it to at least 3.
How did you find it?
You never know what you're going to watch. And I think 2 out of the 3 I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one wasn't awful. It's just like, I wouldn't have picked this,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He's going to go. I don't know if we really need to sit through the next 5 or 10 minutes of pricing discussion.
Yeah.
But if I could summarize, and you help me fill in the gaps here. We know now the genesis of the Wednesday discounts. Matt asks him how that is working out, and Adam says it's too early to tell, right?
Yeah, he says it seems to be positive, but it's not there yet where it's covering the cost, but it seems it looks like with some time it will.
And then help me with some color here. They had conversations about every other permutation about how you could possibly price admissions. They tried doing some, if it's a prime movie, increase the price on the opening weekend. They tried decreasing the prices. What else did they talk about? Everything they tried, they said didn't work.
Yeah, they went through the thing where the center seats were more expensive and the outlier seats, and they said so they've done pricing permutations. They've done a number of experiments in different ways. They're always trying to do experiments. They keep the ones that work, but the ones that don't work, they just cut out. So it's they're constantly the summary is they're constantly trying different pricing incentives to see what works and what doesn't.
It was good for me to hear them talk about this. And again, if you want to see this whole interview without me and Mike interrupting it every 60 seconds, the link is to Matt's interview is down in the video description. It was interesting for me to hear the whole conversation and to know for myself that they really have tried so many different things, and they look at the data, and it all comes down to, did this generate more profit or not? And if it didn't, we're not going to keep doing it. Right?
Yeah, that's. Are you going to go through to the end of the video?
I'm going to skip all of that conversation because I think it goes on for a while. Yeah,
because I think that the other key points in the video is probably getting near the end there, where he talks about they're trying to get sports and there's some announcement.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to?
No, let's at least let them talk about it so we can get the setup.
Okay.
Yeah, Adam was not happy that the center seat thing didn't work. He said it still kicks me in the teeth that didn't work.
Yeah.
People didn't accept it. It's weird that concerts can get away with premium seating, but movies, no.
And he said in Europe they can do it. He said that not in the North American market, though. People were not accepting of it.
I think here he's talking about the football stuff.
They almost had a deal there, it sounds like. But then the NFL is the one that kind of said no.
What was that?
They said they almost had a deal, and it wasn't it wasn't the production company for the football. It was the NFL that kiboshed the deal.
Yeah, I want people to hear what he said, because this was really fascinating to me and kind of mirrored my own experience. Let me see if I can find what they said here.
Meetings feeling happy?
Yes. Very, very happy.
Okay.
And let's just say that we leaned in very hard to do our bit to help make sure that F1 succeeded, because our bet was that if F1 succeeded, Apple would actually Apple, because it wasn't not
Apple is unacceptable.
I'll bet you that when F1 hits, very proud of it, and
for that movie. And I know that several of the theater chains, not movies of that size.
That's also accurate. Having said that, look, I'm a firm believer that when COVID came, every studio experimented with all sorts of stuff. Take movies just to streaming services. Disney did some of that on Disney Plus. Warner Brothers under Kylar, remember, took movies to the home and theater on the same day. That was a disaster.
I didn't think you could say his name. That's
I have a little twitch.
Jason Kylar, yeah.
They experimented with everything, and where we supposedly landed up was the old 74-day window was going to be a 45-day window. And what's happened is, I don't know, half the movies are a 45-day window. Disney's movies are all a 60-day window, but there are a lot of movies that are hitting the home at 25 to 35 days. And we think it's really important. I think that we'll never get back to a 74-day window again. But it'd be nice to actually adhere to a 45-day window. It's going to be something that will appeal to some studios and be a fist fight with others.
They haven't guaranteed or said that they're committed to that.
Who's the they?
Amazon.
No, but neither is anybody else other than Disney.
You talked earlier, I'm curious about how the key to AMC's success is that your customers have a better experience than at other chains. Do you feel like extending the window is a good customer experience?
Look, as you phrase the question, I assume that if movies could go to the home for free on day one, that would be the thing that some consumers might like the most.
They'd also prefer that they be free in general.
Yeah.
And they prefer that your theaters be free.
I understand that, but going to a movie theater and seeing, as Nicole Kidman says, dazzling images on a huge silver screen.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's like crack. They love it.
Do you know that there are bumper stickers and T-shirts with phrases from the Nicole Kidman commercials
I believe it.
all over America?
Yeah, why aren't you selling those in your theaters?
Maybe we should.
You should,
There we
actually.
go.
They would sell.
Where's,
in LA,
where's
New York.
Ryan? Write that one down, Ryan.
Yeah.
But coming back.
Mike, how
Yeah.
do we not have Nicole Kidman T-shirts?
I have no idea. Like everyone complains about the money they spent on that. That's probably like the most viral advertising campaign of the last 5 years.
And
Next
the
to
bulk
Sydney
of the
Sweeney has
money,
Piggies.
the bulk of
come
the
on.
money went to TV advertising.
Yeah. Like what a good ad spend.
Matt is very mad because he's like, you spent all this money and you just show the ad to people in the theater. That is not what happened when the ad came out.
No.
And I've posted the Variety article. You guys can go look it up. The bulk of that budget, people say, oh, I paid Nicole Kidman X million. The bulk of that budget went to buy TV advertising at a time when no one was going to the theater.
Yeah.
It did not all go to Nicole Kidman. That is a bearish nonsense story.
Like, yeah, you talk to people in the ad industry and they would love it. Like that was a smashing success, the virality and how big that, like, people apparently still applaud after that ad's done 2 years later.
I cry.
Oh, yeah.
I cry. Every time it's on, we put our hand on our hearts and then we wipe the little tear away when it's done.
Yeah, but hey, if your job as an advertiser, job succeeded. I don't know how that turns into money. Maybe that was part of the turnaround. I don't know how to quantify it, but money well spent.
Every company needs a little bit of branding, and she's the brand right now. There's nothing wrong with it.
100%. And every other theater has copied it. They have a similar ad, not with Nicole Kidman, but an ad like the theater, my local theater I go to before every movie. They show an ad in the similar vein. Sitting in the movie theater with your friends, you laugh, you cry, and it's gone everywhere.
The only way we top this is get Nicole Kidman and Sydney Sweeney together.
I don't know if I'd be able to be in a public place for that, Tony.
All right, let's see if we can get to the sports conversation here.
2 or 3 hours of out-of-home experience in a nice, that's a good thing. And like sometime in late years, I want to preserve that theaters still exist and that theaters are still viable. And you can go to your movieplex down the street and watch a movie on a big screen. And so that's why the Windows thing is so important.
Are you getting teary listening to this?
If we can convince,
I'm in a theater
if
every
we can
month.
convince studios, and this is a big if, because we'll get there with some. We're already there with Disney. We'll get there with others. If we can convince every studio, which might be a pipe dream to think of, but we can convince everybody that they should like religiously adhere to a 45-day window. I think that makes movie theaters more profitable. Movie theaters being more profitable means we can sustain ourselves as an industry, and it means your kids and your grandkids get to go watch movies in movie theaters 50 years from now. I think that's a good thing.
All right,
So,
we are coming to the end of our journey here.
as opposed to free at home.
Yes.
on
We're
day.
coming to the end of our journey. Do you regret doing this? Are you happy you did this interview?
It's great.
Is your PR guy going to say the same backstage?
I'll ask him. I don't know. He told
He
me.
didn't come out and stop the interview, so
No,
that's
but he
good.
told me not to be funny, and they've been laughing all night.
good.
So
Do you have any other questions? I have a couple, but we don't need to get to them.
he said I should
have a
be.
couple,
He
but
said
I
I
feel
should.
like we've-
He said I should be a boring CEO type and just like
Oh, but that's not
float.
fun.
Well, that's what I.
Okay.
Yeah.
One last question. You can have the last one here.
You mentioned at the beginning how you spent the last 10 years trying to figure out how to get that 14% occupancy up. And you keep referring to your theaters as movie theaters. And I feel like one of the things that people have talked about and tried is programming things that are not movies. Do you think there will ever be a point at which you see a movie theater as something that isn't just for movies? And if so, what will it be for?
Well, you are so. I mean, you are. I just come and tell you right or wrong. He's so right. Well, how
Oh,
is it?
I had that too.
Okay. I'll give
I
that one
had
to you
that
then. Literally earlier today, I talked to one of my senior vice presidents. We've got to get sports rights. We just got to get sports rights. We've been trying for years, mostly unsuccessfully. We showed for 3 seasons. We showed NFL games. We showed all the wrong games. We did. We got the rights from DirecTV, and what they had the rights for were what are called the out-of-market games. And what I found out is that in Chicago, they don't want to watch Seattle play Jacksonville. They want to see the Bears. And in Denver, they want to see the Broncos. And in, and I guess in LA, I mean, when I lived in LA a long time ago, there wasn't even a football team here, but there are. I guess you want to watch the Rams and the Chargers in LA, but
this, Mike, is the biggest thing that I noticed with the football. They had college football too, right? Everything was out of market, if it even showed here. Like, I wanted to go support watching the sports, but I want to watch my teams.
Yeah, and I don't think that's cheap, man. And I think like the TV subscribers that are showing the in-market games are not giving those away lightly. Like, that's such big viewership for them, and they pay big bucks to show the in-market games.
Yeah, maybe we just can't compete. Maybe theaters just can't compete. But I sure wish they'd figure out a way to make it work.
So like there's streamers now that are showing certain games. So I think the only way it works is there's some sort of partnership with a production, like, say, I think Amazon showing hockey games or something like that, or
maybe once Amazon buys AMC,
or that, or if they could work out some deal, say, hey, Amazon, give us the rights to show your games in theaters, and we'll give you a cut of ticket revenue or something, and everyone's still going to watch at home. But if 8 guys want to get their buddies together and crush some beers at an AMC bar and watch on the big screen, then
look, if you can
make a little more money.
Mike, if you can go watch these games at a sports bar, you should be able to watch them at a theater. That's what's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I don't know if the licensing rules are done. And then the other thing is too, would you go to the theater to watch a game when you could just go with your buddies to a sports bar? I'm not.
Yes.
Yes,
I would, because the sports bars here are ridiculous. You got to pay to get in. You got to pay to get a seat. Yeah. If you don't pay extra, you're standing. It's crowded. You can't get a fucking waitress.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be a bad experience here. It might not be like that in everywhere you guys go, but it can be a pain in the ass here. So
if you can get to an AMC theater and order drinks and food from your app and watch a game on the big screen, that's quite a nice service.
With the reserved chair that, is not a ridiculous price. And yeah, I would do it.
Fair enough. Yep. Well, I hope that works out. But I think
Cosm is essentially that.
I was going to say, do you you see Cosm, you see the Sphere? Do you feel like, I mean, Sphere's a little expensive, but do you feel like that should be in a movie theater?
Well, if you know what it costs to build a Cosm, with its I went to check it out. I would say that the cost of Cosm, just sort of remembering, it's a while since I looked, was like 30 times what it cost to build one movie theater, auditorium. So we probably couldn't put that in 800. I think that, I know, because I went to see some of those wrong NFL games in our theaters. And watching a football game on a 55-foot screen is pretty good.
Why don't you do Monday Night Football? That's Disney. You have a relationship with Disney. They could distribute Monday Night Football via your theaters.
We got really close, but we weren't. We got Disney on board. We weren't able to get the NFL on board.
Why not? They want the content in more places.
Ask the NFL.
Okay.
I got to send a cease and desist letter. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, but having said that,
wow, he got sent a cease and desist letter.
Yeah, and he got Disney on side, but the NFL just wasn't. That's I don't understand that.
Well, maybe we need to start pestering the NFL as AMC investors. Then I don't know. Yeah. All right, I think we're about to get to the last is the last minute where he talks about the January surprise.
Yeah, it's right at the end.
All right, let's finish out with that.
You say we need to fill our theaters on Monday nights.
I completely agree. But sports rights is one. Earlier today, yesterday, I talked to an important executive about maybe live streaming concerts into our theaters around the country, because we have the capability right now to take at 277 of our 540 U.S. theaters, we can actually live broadcast into a theater. So that's an interesting idea. The biggest idea I'm working on, I can't talk to you about.
Really? Oh, yeah, you can. We're amongst friends.
Not until January or February.
Super Bowl?
No, it's not sports.
Okay. But
if we can pull this one off, this is a really amazing idea. But we haven't pulled it off yet, so I can't.
The Taylor Travis wedding. Call Scott Swift right now.
Mike, what is he talking about?
I have no idea. I don't know if it's a one-time thing or like I don't know what it would be.
Have you seen any good guesses on social media?
No, not one. And honestly, I haven't sat down to think about it a lot. Like I watched it. I'm like, what could it be? Thought about it, and then lost my train of thought on it. But I have no idea. No idea.
Well, I can't wait to hear what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
What could it be that's such that is? It can't be a one-time event. It must be. I don't know. Maybe some sort of deal with streamers and TV episodes or something.
Maybe it's more shares available to investors.
Well, that's happening for sure.
I don't know. I all jokes aside, I hope it is something exciting and can bring them some more bottom line profits. So
Yeah,
we'll find out in January or February, I guess, if they get it done.
Yeah.
He said it's not done yet.
But the guys are working.
Oh, I think I did see one tweet. Someone said, this must be the material, non-public information that he can't talk about. This is it.
That would be a pretty big fucking deal if that's what it is.
Yeah. I kind of poo-pooed all that MNPI conversation. I was like, look, while you're waiting for a quarterly earnings call, everything that just happened is MNPI. It's a blackout for 6 weeks. That could be what he's talking about. But imagine if there is something big waiting for us to find out in January, February. Could be cool.
Yeah. No idea. Just no clue. No guesses.
Dink says lessons on how to get catfish. Damn, Dink. Salty tonight. Sparky says, think bars pay a ton to show games. Not sure how it gets checked with the leagues, but I think there is a cost. There's certainly a cost, right?
100%. Yeah. Even if you want to show UFCs and stuff like that, which AMC has been doing, they've been showing UFCs. I don't know how successful those are, but that's more use of an auditorium, which is good.
Yeah.
But it's not sports, he said. So.
Well, that is pretty much it for the Matt Belloni, Adam Aron interview. There was a lot of good topics covered. Again, if you want to see the whole thing uninterrupted, there is a link to the YouTube video down in my video description, direct on Matt's channel. Hopefully he doesn't get mad at us for having a discussion about his content tonight. But I think we met the requirements of fair use by having a lot of discussion about points made in this video and about AMC and answering your guys' questions. If you have out in the audience any last minute questions while Mike and I are still here, I don't know about you, Mike, but I have not had dinner yet. It's 8:30 and I'm going to need to fix something here soon. But do you have any, while we wait to see if there's any questions, Mike, do you have any last minute thoughts you want to share?
No, for dinner, you can run down to your local AMC and go get some popcorn there, Tony. But I've reiterated my thoughts again and again. Not much has changed for me. Like I said, I was a little bit on the fence there after Q1, but Q2, the numbers not as good as I like, but numbers very solid. So I'm just happily kind of waiting for entries and slowly averaging in as the time comes, and we'll see what happens in a couple of years, whether I was right or wrong.
Speaking of going to AMC tonight, my original plan, Mike, was not to do a live stream tonight. I was attempting to go watch Jaws on IMAX tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I really wanted to. I checked, and it's still available at least for another day or two. I don't know how long it's out, but I know for sure it's available tomorrow. And my wife is off work tomorrow, so I don't even know if she's ever seen Jaws, Mike. It came out 50 years ago.
50-year-old movie making 10 million this weekend. That's unbelievable.
I'm the old one in the relationship. I don't know if she ever saw Jaws.
Well, that's how it should be, Tony.
So, maybe if she wants to go see it, that'd be cool. And if not, I'm definitely going to go see it on the big screen because I was too little at the time when it came out to go see a scary movie like that on the big screen. But I'm very much looking forward to this 50th anniversary, seeing it at AMC tomorrow or in the next day or two. And then what's that other movie, The Long Walk?
That one looks good. Conjuring is coming out. Like September doesn't have any big movies, but there's a whole bunch of kind of like the slate is stacked. There's new stuff, a whole bunch of new kind of mid-sized movies coming out every weekend. So there's tons to watch. Long Walk I want to see. The next big one I'm kind of interested in is, what is it? I think it comes out next month. That Tron Ares in October.
Yeah, that one.
That one looks real good. So might drag out to see that one. But if I see some good trailers, like Long Walk looked okay. I kind of got a lazy month where I just got to sit around, let some injuries heal for the next couple of weeks. So I'm sure I'll get.
You got plenty of time to go see movies.
Yeah. Kind of get drug out to the theaters and just kind of maybe pick some smaller films and see if we can find something kind of cool.
We went to go see last week Caught Stealing.
How was that?
It was good. And
Yeah.
we saw some trailers before that movie, and the Long Walk trailer came on, and my wife said, I want to see that one. She always tells me, because she knows I'll go to a movie by myself.
Yeah.
She's not as big of a movie fan as I am, but if she wants to see it, she'll make sure, do not go see that one without me. So we'll be seeing that one together as well.
So if we get out, maybe Caught Stealing, maybe Long Walk. What else am I seeing in here? I'm not too big into anime. Big Bold Beautiful Journey.
Yeah, that one looks good.
That one looks okay. Yeah, there's a couple I might run out to see. I'll see what's kind of playing at my local Cineplex there when I get out.
Zachary says
the big one I want to see, the one I probably won't miss, is that Tron Ares in October.
I saw the original Tron movie, and I used to play the game in the arcade. That was big back then.
Yeah, and those previews look absolutely spectacular. Looks like maybe Disney's got a hit on its hands there.
We to answer Zachary's question, we have not seen Nobody 2. I didn't even see Nobody, the first one, when it came out. However, I made my wife and watch it on pay-per-view or Prime, wherever it was available. We watched it about 2 weeks ago, and we have the intention to go see Nobody 2 at the theater, but we've both just been busy. And I don't know. I heard it's already going to streaming, so I don't know if we're going to make it, but I do want to see it on the big screen. And but Jaws first, because I think I need to look and see how many days each of them are left. But I do want to see it. She really enjoyed Nobody. I fell asleep in the last 10 minutes, to be honest. But I like the actor. I forget his name. The guy that played Saul. Better Call Saul.
We kind of did that same thing when The Accountant 2 came out. We watched The First Accountant, and that movie was actually quite good with Ben Affleck. And then we went to go see The Accountant 2. I enjoyed that one.
Zachary says 10 out of 10 for Nobody 2. All right. I'm going to plan out my next few days, Zachary, and I'll see if I can get that one in. I really hate it when I have the intention to go see a movie like Americana. You guys remember that one came out a couple weeks ago, and I really wanted to go see it, and it was only in the theater for like a week, and then they dumped it.
Yeah.
That shit pisses me off.
Yeah, even if it's making a few $1 million, like, you got a Cineplex with 12 screens on it. You can't play it on one screen, a couple showings a day. That doesn't make any sense.
Even one time per day would be fine. I'd make the time to go see it. Let it play for 30 days. God damn it.
Yeah. It is frustrating sometimes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Hopefully you learned something tonight. I learned a lot this is the third time that I've heard this interview now. I listened to it on Spotify, and then I watched the video, and then we just watched it again. And hopefully you guys got some value out of that in our little discussion tonight. And make smart trades.
Yeah. And listen, it's straight from the horse's mouth. He's giving you estimates on what the box office is going to look like in the future. Stop listening to other people. Listen to people in the know.
Yolo Ono, yeah, the bus scene was good. It was on Nobody. Tito says, any holiday plans, California? I think right now we've committed to go visit my dad for either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I need to align with my brothers and sisters to see on what holiday everybody's going to fly in. But no, we haven't made firm holiday plans just yet. We better get on top of that. But for at least one of those holidays, I'll be live streaming or making videos from out of town. So stay tuned. It will not be California, but we'd like to get out to California again sometime soon. Zachary says, Tony, reserve your seats as soon as it shows up in the app. I got burned for that as well. For Americana or whatever small movie, yeah, I probably should. The problem is, Zachary, my days are not structured. And some days I'm really busy, and some days I have not much going on. And the other thing, here's what happened. Now I remember, Mike, because the last month has been so slow, there were no movies really starting before 4 or 5 p.m. Did you guys notice that? Like, I like to sneak out. I'll start my trading day. I'll get up at 5 or 6 in the morning. I'll come in here and work. And then I'll go watch a movie at noon. And then I'll be back for market close. That has not been an opportunity. There's no movies. So they just aren't opening the theater till late in the afternoon. That blows my day up because I don't like driving to a movie in rush hour. I don't like going to a movie at 5 o'clock.
Cost savings, Tony. They're shutting it down if there's not demand.
I know. That's exactly why they're doing it. You're 100% right. They're trimming cost because no one's going to the movies because there are no movies. So I don't blame them, but it has impacted the frequency of my movie going over the past few weeks, to be honest. That cutting of the schedule hurts someone like me that likes to go at lunchtime. What are you going to do?
Well, you're doing your part, Tony. I see you post about movies all the time.
I do my best.
Yeah.
I do my best. And yeah, it makes me nuts, Mike, when people say, oh, you work for the hedge funds because you're not saying that you're buying stock every day. Motherfuckers, I go see more movies than any of y'all combined. All y'all calling me a hedge fund plant. If you knew how many movies and how much money we spend at AMC, you wouldn't be saying that bullshit. Just because I have a different decision matrix about when I buy the stock does not make me working for the shorts, dummies.
Well, I got stock, Tony, so keep doing it. You're helping my investment out.
I'm doing my part in a different way, and I'm just waiting for the right moment. And I've laid out clearly for you guys what I'm waiting for, and when the little bit of short-term risks that I'm worried about are out of the way, then I'll be talking to you sometime soon about making another purchase.
So what do you think you're doing? Are you going to wait for the proxy or going to wait till the vote's done?
I got to see what's on the proxy first, Mike. I can't even say the answer to your question. I understand the question, but I might just wait for the proxy, but I might see the proxy and say, oh shit, now I need to wait for the vote.
Okay. Yeah. Depending on how controversial it is. Yeah.
One step at a time.
Yeah. You know what? I think even when you had like the conversion reverse split vote, I think that, and it still seems, the sentiment still seems to be the same. I think you have enough people that are going to vote yes for stuff that it's like, because even if you remove Antara's portion of their votes, it was overwhelmingly positive yes vote to all that stuff. So I think you just have some loud voices on social media that try to stew negative sentiment. But I think for the most part, people understand that these are things that need to happen, especially when you look at the interest rates and what's kind of going on, right?
The other thing I'll just tell you guys, like if you're one of those people that is buying every day and you're holding no matter what, that's fine. You can make your own choice. I'm never going to say anything bad to anybody that's doing that. You guys make up your own minds, do whatever you want. But for those of you that are doing that, just know that there are many people in my Discord, many people I talk to every day that are waiting with cash on the side to re-enter this play. No one's just sitting there. Well, some people have moved on, but there are a lot of people that are just waiting for the right moment. I can't tell you when that moment is going to be. We're all kind of analyzing and waiting the same thing. And I think to a certain extent, institutions, some of them are doing the same thing. When the moment is right, the buying pressure will come back in. That's, I guess, how I would sum it up. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah, like I don't know. I watch the stock price, but I just try not to follow day-to-day price action. It just drives you nuts. So I'll check it every once in a while. But
I'm just saying there's money waiting to come in this trade at the right moment.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like I said, the risk to reward. Well, the institutions are going to know what's on that proxy before any of us are going to know too. Somebody always knows, right? So I'm sure you'll see some weird things happening well before it pops out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you for your time tonight. Good catching up with you. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, thank you. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the alerts, and don't miss any updates. If you're watching on replay, feel free to leave us a comment. And I do my best to answer your questions if you have them. Let's go take it home with the GameStop song, Mike.
All right. Thanks for having me, Tony.
Take care.
Up and to the right. Up and to the right. Up and to the right.
Hello, millionaires. Short screenplays where fortunes flip. GameStop's journey, an epic trip. From humble roots to the moon we fly. A company's dream will amplify. Reddit warriors, keyboards in hand. With their eyes on the prize, they took a stand. No one's selling, we're here to fight. How does it go? Up and to the right. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It stops on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, molasses in sight. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It stops on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar, molasses in sight. Hedge funds trembling, Kenny's in shock. GameStop stock, you'll never stop. From diamond hands to rocket ships, we're not selling, we buy every dip. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. Up and to the right, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Up and to the right, molasses in sight. Billions in cash on the balance sheet. We will win even if they cheat. Dilute us more, we don't care. Book value grows with every share. The doubters say it can't be done, but the retail army we've already won. With every share we'll never stop. Investors say we love the stock. Up and to the right, we're in for the ride. It stops on the rise, it can't be denied. Up and to the right, through the day and night. Together we'll soar. Up and to the right. Up and to the right. We're in for the ride. Together we'll soar. Up and to the right.
Surprise!
We're gonna win.